Chapter 1118. In the Alliance Square of Wuji City, a group of people gathered. They were the most dazzling people in Wuji Star. They were none other than Huyan Albua, the first king, Jing Tiangang, and the other members of the Proud Heavens Alliance on the Wuji Star. There were also Chun Hao's earliest siblings, Mo Yui, Yang Fan, and I, Jian Pain, Li Yifeng, But Face, and Xiao Mei. 10,000 years later, Xiao Mei's appearance had not changed at all. She only had a stronger aura and confidence after Chun Hao destroyed her inferiority complex. 2.5 years ago, after receiving news of the return of killer god Chun Hao, she had not left the second world. She was like Fan Shaoqing, waiting for news of Chun Hao, waiting for Chun Hao's return. 10,000 years ago, when Chun Hao saved them from the Valley of Happiness, he opened his heart to her. No one knew how happy she was at that time. Sister Mei home? Junior. Sister Mei, what do you think this is? This is when you left the Xiao family and rushed to the royal school. We sent you off. Hee. That's right. Sister Mei, look at how affectionate you are. What? Sister Mei, your talent is very poor. I know. Junior, thank you for helping me so much. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be able to step out of the secular world. Xiao Mei clearly remembered that at that time. Chun Hao's unconstrained words had left her at a loss. Her heart had been filled with apprehension, bitterness, and countless fantasies. Although she didn't expect too much, when Chun Hao said it out loud, she still felt extremely uncomfortable. However, what Chun Hao said next was the happiest and most unforgettable thing she had ever heard in her life. Do you want to become stronger? I do. Of course I do. I think about it all the time. Sister Mei, there's a very simple way for you to become stronger quickly. However, you'll have to pay a huge price. What is it? Be my woman and dual cultivate with me. The price is very high. Sister Mei, are you willing? Xiao Mei remembered that before she could finish her words, Chun Hao had kissed her and sealed her mouth. And now, after over 10,000 years, he had returned. Instead, he threw himself directly into a life or death battle for the vast universe galaxy. DDD. Suddenly, all the cultivators in the second world, whether they were in the Alliance Square, in the arena, or in the holy land of the second world, received a system message. The message was a video conversation between the two of them. One was Chun Hao, the woman who was rumored to be the most loved by the killing god Chun Hao in the vast universe galaxy. She was the leader of the harem. One of them was the god of slaughter, Chun Hao. As soon as they saw this video, all the cultivators in the second world of the vast universe galaxy exclaimed in surprise. Long Yi and his Taoist companions, Pan Donglu, Pan Dongsheng, Chun Shaoqing, Huyan Albua, the first king, and Xiao Mei were all excited at once. Teacher Si Xian wants me to ask you about the details. Everything you say now will be used as evidence in court. This is Controller Yilan's order. You must answer. It can't be. I worked so hard to fight for the human race, and I broke the law. Abandoning the human race token is an unredeemable crime. Another beautiful figure suddenly appeared in the video. Voila! The moment this figure appeared, it once again caused an uproar among the human cultivators, especially among the geniuses of the temple and countless important figures. It was the immortal legend, Teacher Si Xian. That's because I accidentally forgot. Cough, cough. All right, Teacher Si Xian, ass away. You completed the mission with a 10,000% success rate, forcing the foreign races to launch an attack half a year in advance. What's the specific situation? How many foreign races did you kill? Not many. How many is not many? I've only killed 20 to 30 small corps, a few medium corps, and 1 large corps. Armies as a whole? Both Si Xian and Chun Shui asked at the same time. It seems so. The specific number is what Controller Yilan wants to know. I'm the commander, and I have the right to know the exact situation of the enemy's forces. You should know that only by knowing yourself and the enemy can I give the correct orders. That's true. Okay, I'll tell you. It's good that you know, but don't make it public. I'm a very low-key person. Speak. Si Xian interrupted, her face slightly green. I killed 39 small armies, 8 medium armies, and 1 large army. They were all wiped out. This is one of the reasons they were forced to launch the attack early. The main reason is, over the past 2 years, I've captured about 900 small armies. Currently, they're all with me. I haven't counted the total number, but the small armies have about 5,000 to 6,000 people. I'll say it again, Teacher Si Xian, it's good that you know. That's it, I'm going to start the battle. Chen Hao pointed at his head and said. After saying this, the display screen and the flying device blurred, and Chen Hao's figure disappeared. He left behind the stunned teacher, Si Xian, and Chen Shui. Soon after, the broadcast in the second world ended. Is this real? Countless human cultivators said the same thing as Si Xian had said in Chen Shui's flying device. Back then, Si Xian had been constantly sending messages to Yi Lan from the command medallion. Yi Lan and true immortal Shui may had received the news at almost the same time, and they were both stunned speechless. Not long after, Yi Lan didn't hesitate to spread the news throughout the second world. Low-key, you want to keep a low profile, so old man will let you? What's the use of keeping a low profile? The human heart was infinitely large, and the karmic luck was limitless. He wanted Chen Hao to do what he couldn't do, and he believed that Chen Hao could do it. How could he let Chen Hao give up on the chance to gather karmic luck? It wasn't just the second world that spread the news. At the same time, Yi Lan ordered Si Xian to use the command medallion to spread the news to all human cultivators in the outworld battlefield. When Lan Feng and the other proud heaven members saw the message, they laughed proudly. They weren't too surprised. As far as they were concerned, this kind of battle record was only SOSO for their boss. What was there to be surprised about? They'd wondered whether or not the first wave of cannon fodder from the Alliance of 9 Galaxies would arrive. Now that they'd heard of their boss's battle record, they were even more convinced that he hadn't done his best. Otherwise, he wouldn't have captured nearly 900 legionnaires alive. He would have killed them. Kill. Of course, they knew that their boss wasn't showing mercy to the enemy. He was delaying the real battle, when the true experts of the alien races poured in. Si Xian starting now. Master, I am a commander. Master didn't say you weren't a commander. All right. No one knew that Yi Lan and Si Xian had just issued a new order. At the same time, Si Xian commanded the 100 top-tier experts who hadn't yet entered the outworld battlefield. Many of them were the elders of proud heaven's core generals. Hiss, 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 hiss. The Alliance of 9 Galaxies was like a huge net that was spread across the sky. They were like a flood of steel, and wherever they passed, an overwhelming pressure and monstrous battle intent caused heaven and earth to change colors. Boom, boom. Above the left flank of the 9 Great Alliance's massive battle line that spanned tens of billions of kilometers, a terrifying aura that did not belong to the laws of divine arts suddenly emanated from the silent void, and yet was a rumble that resounded across the world. What's that? Countless cultivators in the nearest large army looked at the void in shock. Hiss, hiss. Be careful. This is man-made. It has to be the human army. Attack. Be on guard. Although the army commander was surprised, he wasn't nervous. This was because he didn't sense any threat from the things flying toward him. They didn't contain any divine ability or terrifying power. They weren't magic treasures or artifacts at all. It was like someone throwing a rock at him. The only advantage was that they were shockingly fast. Boom, 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 chi, chi. When the cultivators of this legion heard their leader's words, they violently activated their energy, but they casually waved it at the strange flying object. In their eyes, this thing was not powerful at all. What they really needed to fight was the human legion that hadn't shown up yet. At this time, the ones who could launch a surprise attack here were undoubtedly the top human legions. Reporting to Commander, our army has been harassed and ambushed by the human army, requesting reinforcements from the nearby allied legions to kill the human legions together. The 9 galactic leaders of the army also casually launched attacks to block the rapidly approaching unknown object. They also took the opportunity to report the situation. Although they felt a sense of crisis, they were not in a hurry. After all, he hadn't seen the human legions yet. Leader Pan, is this effective? It doesn't seem powerful at all, and it's so far away. Cough, cough. This is boss's order. Boss said that there will be a surprise, so there will naturally be a surprise. Everyone, follow me and prepare for battle. Coiling Dragon stared at the target on the screen and the rapidly approaching antimatter missile that his boss called antimatter missile. He said without confidence, boom, 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 boom. Finally, just as Coiling Dragon finished speaking, a terrifying explosion appeared on the screen. Mushroom clouds that could swallow the sky, and the earth suddenly spread out from the direction of the explosion. Countless huge meteors in the extraterrestrial battlefield were directly annihilated into dust under everyone's gaze. Chi, 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 chi. Ah! Countless screams could be heard from the mushroom cloud. Then, one after another, non-humankind cultivators rushed out of the mushroom cloud. Their bodies were burning, and their limbs were missing. There was no blood, no flesh, and no blood. However, everyone in Pan Long's army, including Pan Long himself, couldn't help but stare with their eyes wide open. Second update, requesting monthly votes and recommendation votes. I have a stockpile of votes in the annual meeting. I can't explode. Please support Dark Mountain. Thank you. Chapter 1119. So powerful. The tall and burly female guard, who had doubted the power of Coiling Dragon's attack a moment ago, exclaimed in shock. Charge! Finish the battle quickly. Kill! Coiling Dragon regained his senses and gave the order excitedly. Chi! 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 As the antimatter missiles were launched, the battleships that were also closing in quickly opened their doors. The 10,000 human cultivators of the Coiling Dragon Legion instantly charged madly into the half-destroyed alien army. No one in the foreign race army had expected that the seemingly powerless thing would explode with such terrifying power when it exploded. Those who were able to survive were the stronger ones, but they were also severely injured. The human army that suddenly charged over was full of vigor. Even if they were at their peak state, they would still be no match for this human army, let alone the fact that most of their army had already been destroyed. Commander, we encountered the army led by Coiling Dragon. They were attacked by an unknown object and suffered heavy casualties. Please send reinforcements immediately. Send reinforcements immediately. The 9 leaders were pitch black, their bodies almost completely cracked and bleeding from their 7 orifices. They managed to survive by relying on their powerful strength. Each of them sent out an emergency request for help at the first moment and sent the situation to the commanders of their respective galaxies. Kill, 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 kill. Coiling Dragon took the lead like a ferocious beast in human form. He started to kill violently. The members of the Legion also unleashed their most powerful attacks without holding back. They only had one goal, which was to destroy the enemy as quickly as possible and then retreat immediately. Our reinforcements will be here soon. Charge! 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 Arg! F***CKU. Boom! The Coiling Dragon Heaven Splitting Axe, as if it was splitting the heavens and splitting the earth, directly chopped a leader who was trying to boost the morale of the defeated soldiers into pieces. It's been 3 minutes. F***CK. Retreat. After holding on for 5 minutes and still not being able to destroy the enemy, Coiling Dragon reluctantly gave the order. F***King retreat. All of you. This is an order. Seeing the cultivators who didn't carry out the order immediately, Coiling Dragon cursed. Leader will F***CKU. Carry out the order. If you're 1 second late, you'll be expelled. Boom. Chi. Coiling Dragon was the first to turn into a stream of light and fly towards the battleship. At this time, the members of the army, no matter how unwilling they were, immediately followed Coiling Dragon at the fastest speed. Not long after they boarded the battleship, the members of the Coiling Dragon Legion gasped when they saw the large screen of the battleship showing the army of non-human cultivators charging at them from all directions. Damn it! Did you see that? Fortunately, I stuck to boss's order. If we were 2 minutes later, how many of us could have escaped? The human-shaped beast coiling dragon suddenly replaced the enemy on the screen of the 100 warships. It pointed at everyone's noses and cursed. Did you see that? Huh. I hope there won't be a next time. Military orders must be obeyed. Who the F***CK dares to talk nonsense with me? Even if the enemy doesn't kill you, I'll kill you first. Almost at the same time, on the right side of the 9 galaxy alliances, Du Jing stared at all the army members with a gloomy expression. The people of the 2 legions kept quiet out of fear. This is the first battle. Now, I'll tell you the highest goal of the 11 legions of proud heavens. At this time, Du Jing and Coiling Dragon spoke in their respective legions. Our mission is to pin down the enemy as much as possible, not to fight to the death. The 11 legions of proud heavens move in 11 directions alone, where we have to fight against the non-human armies. Even if the enemy is cannon fodder, there's still the Supreme of Hongmeng. There's still a huge army alliance. Just now, you could have killed all of them, but when you did, your legions would have been surrounded. Which one of you is confident you can escape? If that's the case, 3 battles, and you'll all be dead. Coiling Dragon and Du Jing said the same thing. Junior brother Bug, I don't want you to die, huh? The members of the Coiling Dragon Legion and the Du Jing Legion suddenly frowned and wore strange expressions. What's going on? Cough, cough. Senior brother, about that. You should just say it yourself. Cough, cough. Boss, do it yourself. Do it yourself. There's no need to hide it. After all, everyone in the Outworld battlefield knows about your amazing battle record. Du Jing said awkwardly. The 2 of them had just finished their first battle and were reporting to Chun Hao when Chun Hao told them to tell the rest of their legions the plan. Now that they knew the goal, they wouldn't question their leader's orders again. But Coiling Dragon was one thing. He was a bore to begin with, but even Du Jing seemed to have lost a string. He directly repeated Chun Hao's words. Now, he'd said his own name. I'll let you all enjoy the heroism of our boss. What the others didn't know was that Coiling Dragon and Du Jing's brainless actions were actually intentional. They had already received orders from Commander Si Xian, or more accurately, Yi Lan, that if they received any information about Chun Hao, they were to report it immediately. Yi Lan didn't say much. He only said, if you think about your boss, think about Ao Tian, and think about yourselves, then don't hide any of his achievements. Push him out from behind the scenes. How could Coiling Dragon and Du Jing not understand what Yi Lan meant? Buzz buzz. After Coiling Dragon and Du Jing finished speaking, they didn't wait for Chun Hao's reply and directly switched the communication link with Chun Hao to Chun Hao's current image. F***CK. The moment Chun Hao appeared on the display, the word F***CK was uttered. The cultivators of the 2 legions, who were 70% female, all opened their mouths wide. Cough, cough. However, Chun Hao didn't cut off the connection. He coughed and sat up straight. His handsome face and dark eyes were emitting a sharp and cold aura. Right now, our opponents are just the cannon fodder of the alliance of the 9 galaxies. You are the elites of the human race selected by Ao Tian. If we have to sacrifice you to fight the cannon fodder, we will definitely lose this battle. In the end, the vast universe galaxy will fall. Our family, friends, and billions of compatriots will be trampled, ravaged, and enslaved by the 9 galaxies. This is just the beginning. It's far from the time to fight with our lives on the line. The real battle will be after the cannon fodder is annihilated. Therefore, I want none of you to die. You have to achieve the greatest battle record with the least effort and price. Suppress your thoughts of sacrificing yourselves. Third update. Chapter 1120. In just 2 minutes, your 2 legions have wiped out 70% of their forces. Only 30% are left. If we leave decisively and don't lust after the remaining 30%, we'll have 0 casualties. Our strategy is simple. We'll attack them again and again, and then we'll move to another location. That's because we have the concealment of our battleships, and we're faster than them. Why should we risk our lives? Our vast universe planetary system is fighting alone against an alliance of 9 planetary systems. None of them are weaker than us, and quite a few of them are stronger than us. What's the point of victory? If we fight with absolute power, we'll lose. That's why we can't just fight with our lives on the line. None of us are cannon fodder. You and all human cultivators who are preparing for the war at the entrance of the human territory are not cannon fodder. Chen Hao's expression was one of arrogance and self-confidence. What we need to do is split up their forces and break them down one by one. We can't just charge in and fight to the death. Time, place, and people are all in our favor. What's there to fear? Our entrance is limited. No matter how many of them they have, they won't be able to do anything at the same time. Guarding the entrance isn't a matter of merit, but a matter of not making any mistakes. As long as we can stall for time, we'll be fine. As for us 11 wolves, we'll be the sharp fangs of the elephant that is the alliance of 9 planetary systems. We'll tear them apart piece by piece. We'll make the most of our advantages. What are our advantages? Our individual strength, our concealment, and our speed. That's why we're going to ambush them. We'll stun them with a single blow and then move 100 million kilometers away. Regardless of the results, we'll end the battle quickly. If the enemy advances, we'll retreat. If the enemy retreats, we'll advance. If the enemy stays, we'll attack. That's our strategy. That's the strategy of the proud Heaven 11th Legion. Think of it as a game. Chen Hao's lips curled into a mocking smile, and his eyes shone with wisdom. A game where we play hooligan with our opponents. A game where we harass, lure, and kill them. We use time to slowly devour them. All right, find an opportunity. Continue. Whoosh. Chen Hao cut off the video feed, and the 20,000 soldiers from the 2 legions, including Du Jing and Coiling Dragon, were all in an uproar. Hooligan. This was definitely a hooligan tactic. The armies of the 9 planetary systems were like a group of girls huddled together, while proud Heaven's 11 legions were like perverted wolves. If they tried to take advantage of a group, they could drown proud Heaven with a single spit. But if they focused on a single target, they could easily wipe out an entire legion. Even if they were only halfway through and didn't manage to kill all of them, they would still have profited. As long as this action was repeated over and over again, the other party would be divided up bit by bit. It's changed. It has changed. Coiling Dragon Legion. Du Jing Legion. When the Coiling Dragon Army and Du Jing Army finished their first attack in the second world of the vast universe galaxy, the battle records of over 20,000 people changed. The Coiling Dragon Army and Du Jing Army shot up countless ranks, especially Du Jing, who was best at group attacks. He killed hundreds of non-humankind cultivators as soon as his battle record changed. It was much higher than Lin Xia, the vice commander of the army. Obviously, this was not the number that the army commander had assigned to the group battle. Instead, it was the number that he had killed when he fought alone. After a while, the total battle record of the 20,000 people of the 2 armies was calculated. Each army had killed over 6,000 people. From the beginning to the end of the battle record, it only took 2 minutes. Without a doubt, such a terrifying killing speed was very shocking. But the most shocking thing was that there were no casualties. 0 casualties. The 2 legions killed around 13,000 enemy troops and suffered 0 casualties. This was no doubt very shocking. Especially in a chaotic battle between 2 armies, it was basically impossible. After all, this was not like Chen Hao's one-man slaughter. Instead, it was a chaotic battle where many of the soldiers had battle records. But now it was happening for real. This was a miracle. Moreover, the human cultivators soon realized that the first 2 battles were just the beginning of a miracle. More than half of you are dead? The commanders of the 9 galaxies roared. In just 2 minutes, more than half of you are dead? Are you pigs? Commander, the cylindrical object shot by the enemy was very powerful. It instantly destroyed half of our people. Those who were lucky enough to survive were severely injured. Please take a look. The remaining leaders of the 2 armies reported the scene of the battle to their respective commanders in horror. After the 9 commanders saw the video, they angrily issued a notice to all the armies. Chi. A few days ago, 100 masters from each of the 9 galaxies cut through the void and headed toward the entrance of the human race at a terrifying speed. There were 900 of them. They were the top masters of the 9 galaxies in the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. They appeared for only one purpose: killing God Chun Hao. Every one of them had an aura that even the current commanders of the 9 galaxies could not compare to. The strongest few had extremely terrifying auras. Ordinary Hongmeng Supremes would not be able to fight back under their pressure. Killing God Chun Hao, old man will kill you with his own hands. An elder from the tyrants, who was leading the way and could travel thousands of miles in the blink of an eye, had an extremely terrifying aura. His eyes were as cold as swords, and his heart was extremely cold. This old man was the leader of the 100 masters of the tyrants. He was also the strongest among them. When the other 99 people saw the person who had been appointed as their leader, but whose name they had never heard before, their dissatisfaction disappeared. How was this relying on the position of the Jin family's patriarch? He was using his true strength. He was truly powerful. Even a few top geniuses who were close to the strength of a cutting Tao, perfected immortal, felt boundless terror from this old man. There was no doubt that this was a master who had the strength to kill ordinary cutting Tao, perfected immortals. This also made everyone feel that the Jin family's foundation was even more unfathomable. Yes, this old man was from the Jin family. If the controller had not appointed him as their leader this time, they would never have heard of such a person in the Jin family. Jinji, just like the golden dragon that appeared out of nowhere in the Daluo Golden Wonderland, he was so powerful that it made people's hair stand on end. Although they had never seen him in action, the instinctive feeling between masters made them know that they were no match for this old man. Naturally, they were no match for him. Jinji, the number of extremes. 9. After the Shao family's patriarch fused the 9 lives, he separated another life to kill Chun Hao. It was the 9th life. 4th update. Chapter 11:21. Moreover, when the 9th life was separated, it was directly extracted into the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. Apart from the 9 lives' profound technique, it was impossible for a Tao severing true immortal to suppress his realm and enter the extraterritorial battlefield. This was because suppression was different from that of a true Hongmeng Supreme. No one could deceive the high and mighty heavenly Tao laws. However, when the Shao clan patriarch separated the 9th life, he could completely extract the aura of a Tao severing true immortal. In his original body, the 9th life was truly at the peak of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. Any higher, and he would not be able to enter the extraterritorial battlefield in the same space as the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. By doing so, the Shao clan's patriarch had clearly been driven mad by the killing god, Chun Hao. The first time, Shao Yan's death caused him to be unable to kill Yi Lan's true self before he completed his nirvana and control the human race's vast universe galaxy. The second time, although there was no real result, he could almost tell that something had happened to his 10th life, the Golden Dragon. Of course, the Golden Dragon was definitely not dead. As his original body, he could still sense this. Otherwise, he would have the feeling that he could derive the 10th life. Now, he did not. Then, the biggest possibility was that the Golden Dragon had become a puppet of Chun Hao, just like the Dark Demon clan's Gao Kun. Although there were all kinds of doubts that he could not figure out, the Shao clan's old ancestor was now certain that killing god Chun Hao had the ability to hide real life. It was the same ability as the mental world. Otherwise, there would be no news of the deaths of the cultivators in the nearly 900 armies of the 9 galaxies that had disappeared. This was also the real reason why Chun Hao had been secretly hunting for more than 2 years without being discovered. He had spoiled his plans twice in a row. The Shao clan patriarch was sure that this was definitely his destined nemesis. Just like Yilan, he deserved to die. He had no way to deal with Yilan. But for Chun Hao, before Chun Hao truly matured, it was undoubtedly the best time. If it was any later, Chun Hao would become an existence even more terrifying than Yilan. This was something the Shao clan's ancestor was certain of. My grandson, Grandpa, will personally avenge you. While the Shao clan's old ancestor, 9th life Jinji, was leading the 99 experts towards the human race's entrance, an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion, who resembled Gao Kuan, was among the 100 people at the Dark Demon race's entrance. Gao Kuan's grandfather, Gao Run, was known as the Master. He was one of the brothers of the Dark Devil clan's clan master. Because Gao Kuan had become the clan master's personal disciple, he and the clan master had become very close. His strength was extremely powerful, but because he had a reincarnated body that was immersed in 100 reincarnations, he had not yet severed his Tao. Otherwise, even if his strength couldn't be compared to the controller of the Dark Demon clan, he would be the second strongest person in the Dark Demon clan. Gao Kuan's death infuriated Gao Run to the point of vomiting blood. Gao Kuan was his most beloved grandson. Although he was the controller's personal disciple, he had put in much more effort than the controller. Gao Kuan was his own grandson, and also the one with the strongest talent and potential in the Gao family. He was destined to lead the Gao family to greater glory. And yet, he had been turned into a puppet by Chen Hao, the god of slaughter, and used to start a war with the sky demons. This was worse than whipping a corpse. As if my daughter, Mother has finally found the chance to avenge you. In the insect race, an insect race, Queen led 99 insect race elites through the void at a terrifying speed. Her human head was in the middle, and her 8 dragon-like heads were on either side. She looked very frightening, but her human body was still very tempting. If Chun Hao had seen her, he would certainly have noticed that this insect race queen was shockingly similar to the top insect race genius he had killed in the primitive mystic realm, the one who had forced Chun Hao to use his full strength in the Great Five Elements art. The only difference was that Morichi's had 8 snake heads, while this insect race queen's head resembled a dragon's head. It was unknown how many times more terrifying. What Chun Hao didn't know was that karma was the so-called cycle of karma. Revenge breeds revenge, be it old or new. In short, among the top elites sent by the 9 galaxies, there were super elites who had volunteered to come when they learned that the controller was sending elites to kill Chun Hao. Moreover, they were either related to the primitive mystic realm or the 10 Directions domain's 9 great commanders. There was also one that was related to both the primitive mystic realm and the 10 Directions domain, the God race and the Lu family. By now, after learning that Chun Hao had the strength of a Tao-severing true immortal, as long as one wasn't a fool, one could guess that the situation in the 10 Directions domain was definitely out of their control. Gao Kuan had become a puppet, but what about the others? Given killing God Chun Hao's temperament, anyone could guess that the odds were against him. 900 elites from the 9 galaxies quickly gathered in the direction of the human territory's entrance. Proud Heaven's 11 legions began their irregular but frequent attacks. Killing God Chun Hao wasn't idle either. While he could reap a large number of lives at any time, the Alliance's army, which had been frightened by the frequent battle reports, finally launched a fierce general attack. The final battle between the human clan and the Alliance of the 9 galaxies sounded a howl. Wave after wave of attacks, a large number of lives were lost at any time. The alien race army charged madly and ferociously, sacrificing the lives of cannon fodders in exchange for victory. The number of casualties soared terrifyingly. Although the human clan cultivator's defense was as strong as iron, it was impossible to maintain 0 casualties. At the same time, human cultivators were being sacrificed at every moment. Of course, the human clan had already adjusted their strategy to focus on defense. Compared to the Alliance of the 9 galaxies, the number of casualties was very encouraging. 1 in 100. As for Proud Heaven's 11 legions, they bared their sharp fangs and launched repeated attacks. Every time they launched an attack, countless outsider cultivators would perish. Even more shocking was that Proud Heaven's 11 legions continued to maintain their hooligan tactic of 0 casualties. Powerful battleships monitoring the situation, the strength of the human clan's elites, and the ability to target and retreat quickly. They were like 11 cunning wolf kings who were becoming more and more adept at using hooligan tactics. As for the cultivators of Proud Heaven's 11 legions, they couldn't fight to their heart's content. Because of that, they had to flee as quickly as possible. But now that they were familiar with the tactic and had tasted the thrill of it, they were able to unleash their full power within 2 minutes. The antimatter missiles were becoming less effective, but they were becoming more and more effective. No one knew how many enemies Death God Chun Hao had killed by himself. However, when he occasionally encountered the Proud Heavens Legion, the images captured by the battleships had been sent to Commander Si Xian through the command medallion of the Proud Heavens Legion. Si Xian then sent it all to Commander Yilan. After Yilan screened the images, Death God Chun Hao's battle scenes were watched by countless humans in the second world of the vast universe galaxy. They screamed in excitement and shouted in excitement. 10,000 years later, Death God Chun Hao's name resounded through the entire vast universe galaxy 100 times, 1,000 times more than before. Fifth update, begging for votes. Chapter 1122. In addition to Chun Hao, the battles of Proud Heaven's 11 legions were often seen in the Alliance Plaza on the Second World. In fact, they were often seen in public places, including the taverns. Of course, the final showdown at the entrance to the human world was also a common sight. The fighting there was even more terrifying and heart-wrenching, but it was a joint battle between the legions. Compared to the individual battles between Chun Hao and Proud Heaven's 11 legions, it was much less exciting. Heroes are born in troubled times. The craziness of an individual was the key to creating a hero. Even though it was unfair to the cultivators who might not be spared a second glance during the joint attack, this was the reality. Whoever had outstanding strength, who could charge out and reap the lives of the enemy with their own valiant strength, would be the hero. Heroes were also heroes, but no one would remember them. People would only remember that there were thousands upon thousands of human heroes at the human world's entrance, sacrificing their lives to protect their homeland. Who exactly were they? They looked at the pagoda steels and the records. The slaughter god Chun Hao and Proud Heaven's generals, as well as the legions under their command, were the subject of countless screams and shouts throughout the vast universe planetary system. Even the legions that weren't as famous as Chun Hao and Proud Heaven's generals became heroes. Long Yi, Pan Dong Lu, Pan Dong Sheng, Chun Shaoqing, Xiao Mei, Huyan Albua, and all the other Proud Heaven members were filled with joy and shock. They wished they could charge in and help Chun Hao and Proud Heaven kill the enemy. On planet Everlasting, in the second world of the Everlasting City, the slaughter god Chun Hao and Proud Heaven's generals were the subject of much fanaticism. That was especially true of the generals from planet Everlasting. It was the ultimate glory of planet Everlasting. Some of the cultivators and sects who were related to Chun Hao and the other women of Aotion, especially those who had once interacted with Chun Hao and the other women of Aotion, were excitedly recounting the stories of Chun Hao and the other women of Aotion to their juniors who had better cultivation conditions than they did in the past. They enjoyed the envious and worshipful gazes of the juniors. In the end, he shook his head and sighed. He had missed the opportunity to make friends with Chun Hao, the killing god. If he had, he would have been one of Proud Heaven's core generals by now. This caused the juniors to feel a wave of pity. Chun Hao's eldest senior brother, second senior brother, Yuanru Tianzuan, and Bailey Ningbing's grandfather, Guan Nanshao, and Lu Qingyang, who had been in charge for a period of time, were all feeling the same. Looking at the brat and the little girl who had just stepped into the worldly immortal realm more than 10,000 years ago, and now they had grown to be existences that they could only look up to, they were naturally gratified. However, at the same time, they also felt a faint sense of loss. The Great Tao was merciless. They had reached a higher level. Even if the Great Tao didn't forget them, it would still take care of them. Just like Planet Everlasting's amazing development, it was impossible to find the feelings of the past. Beep, beep, beep. Chun Shui, who had just launched a surprise attack, was immersed in cultivation with the members of her legion. Under the effect of the warship's concealment, Chun Hao sent her a communication request. "Hao, what's wrong?" Chun Shui asked in surprise. During this time, although the 11th Legion had been reporting to Chun Hao hadn't replied or given any instructions. Taking the initiative to contact him was even less. "It's been half a year. It won't be so easy in the future." "Little Shui, Help me contact teacher Si Xian. I have something to tell her. Chen Hao said. Chen Shui smiled faintly at Chen Hao's words. To Chen Hao's surprise, Chen Shui didn't say a word and directly switched to video mode. Crash! Two figures appeared on Xiaoji One's huge display screen. You two are together? Chen Hao asked in surprise. Who else could it be but Si Xian standing next to Chen Shui? Can I? Si Xian glared at Chen Hao. Then, without giving Chen Hao a chance to speak, she continued. Proud Heaven's 11th Legion has 10 hidden experts in each legion. Now, you're the only one left. My master wants me and 100 experts to hide in your mind world. Chen Hao was surprised, but immediately understood. If he could think of the possibility of top experts being sent, then there was no reason for an old fox like Yilan to not think of it. You don't have to do that, do you? You're a commander of a human race. I wouldn't dare trouble you with such a small matter. I think so too. Unfortunately, this is Master's order. In Master's words, where can't he give orders? Your life is more precious than the lives of billions of human cultivators. Great hero Chun. Si Xian didn't show anything in front of Yilan, but in front of Chen Hao, she said it directly because she wanted to see Chen Hao's surprised expression. However, Chen Hao didn't seem surprised at all, as if he had expected this. She was a bit annoyed and couldn't help but sharpen her words a bit. No matter what, she was still a dignified commander. Yet, she was actually sent out to secretly protect Chen Hao. Although she understood her master and would not reveal anything in front of her master, she did not need to worry about anything in front of Chen Hao. Huh? Hearing Yilan's words, Chen Hao frowned slightly, but soon after he laughed and said, I don't dare. If others call me that, I'll accept it, but if teacher Si Xian calls me that, I can't accept it. Of course, a little brat like me can't accept teacher Si Xian personally coming to protect me. As a commander of the human race, you are the spiritual core of the human race legion. Even if you just stand there, the effect is great. I suggest that teacher Si Xian quickly return. Oh, also, there's no need for Senior Yilan to send 100 people to protect me. Assign them to the Proud Heaven Legion. What do you mean? Si Xian didn't expect Chen Hao to say this. She frowned and said, This is my master's order. When a general is outside, he can't obey orders. My life isn't that precious. Also, if I want to escape, who can stop me in the foreign battlefield? That's all. Asterisk voila. Asterisk at the same time that Chen Hao's arrogant voice disappeared, the connection to the video was cut off. You, Si Xian gnashed her teeth in anger. Chen Shui shook her head slightly. Based on her understanding of Chen Hao, when Si Xian spoke with sarcasm, she knew that things were going to be bad. I'm so angry. Little Shui, contact him again. Bastard, isn't it just a joke? Teacher Si Xian. Even 9 oxen can't stop him. It's useless even if I contact him. This is an order. An order is useless. In fact, even if he didn't say that, he wouldn't have let you go. Now that you said that, he wouldn't have let you go. Moreover, what he said makes sense. You're a commander, so you should return to the human race legion's entrance and stabilize the soldiers' morale. You? Fine. I'll apologize, okay? If something happens to him, how will I explain it to Master? Master's millions of years of hope are entrusted to him. Si Xian was so anxious that she didn't have the air of a commander anymore. Trust him. Chen Shui's expression was calm as she stared at Si Xian. Her voice was filled with confidence as she said, Soon, you will know that we, Proud Heaven, don't blindly trust and worship him. You will get used to it. Chen Shui once again said the same words that Si Xian had said when Chen Hao hadn't done anything in the past 2 years. After he finished speaking, he sat down cross-legged and slowly closed his eyes, leaving behind Si Xian, whose delicate body was slightly trembling. She was a little dazed, but couldn't say anything. After a moment, Si Xian's face flushed red. She slowly closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Why? What was wrong with her? She had lived for tens of millions of years and experienced many things. Wasn't her state of mind already as tranquil as an ancient well, as virtuous as water? But now, not to mention gotta slaughter Chen Hao, even Chen Shui, who was just a Daluo golden wonderland, made her feel ashamed. It was as if her tens of millions of years of life had been wasted after meeting him and the other members of Proud Heaven. What was the difference between her state of mind and the third life that she despised? Why was it like this? Si Xian asked herself, but she couldn't find the answer. However, a kind of fear welled up in the depths of her heart. After a long time, Si Xian softly said, "Little Shui, send me out, okay." Chen Shui didn't say anything else. Seeing Si Xian turn into a stream of light and disappear at an astonishing speed, Chen Shui shook her head again. She didn't blame Si Xian, but she felt that some things would develop step by step in a direction she didn't want to see. There was nothing she could do to stop it, nothing she could do to change it. So what if it was a legend that had existed for tens of millions of years? In the end, she was still a woman, and a woman who had never experienced love. When a man made her angry, made her state of mind lose balance, and made her show a completely different side of herself, it was often the beginning of her fall. Master, he contacted you? I did, but he rejected me. I and 100 experts are protecting him, Si Xian said through the token. Rejected? Why? Does he think he can resist the experts of the 9 galaxies? He said 100 people will be assigned to Proud Heaven's 11 legions, and that if he wants to escape, no one in this battlefield can stop him. That stinking brat. He's crazy enough. That old bastard has been screwed over by him twice in a row. How can it be as simple as just sending experts? But if I can think of it, he must have thought of it too. Since he rejected me, then let him pay attention to gathering information. Wherever he appears, you don't have to worry about him. The other 100 immediately approach and be ready. Master, Si Xian, what's wrong with you today? You're acting weird. Did that brat provoke you? Master, you trust him so much? Yilan's jaw dropped. Although Si Xian hadn't gone into detail about what had happened, based on what she had said, it was obvious that she had hit a snag on Chun Hao. And it wasn't just Chun Hao, it was Proud Heaven and the others. Through the token, Si Xian could not see Yilan, who was sitting cross-legged in the depths of the Divine Palace. Just like how Chen Shui watched her leave, Yilan shook her head and said something that puzzled Si Xian. You haven't started to comprehend the 3 great immortal scriptures he passed to you, right? No, I'm constantly processing information, so I don't have time to comprehend them. You probably don't know that he's cultivated the great teleportation art to perfection, right? I don't know. Can you tell that he's already comprehended the profundities of the laws of time and space? No, so it's not a matter of whether you believe him or not. He's telling the truth. If he really escapes, even that old bastard's clone won't be able to catch up to him. What I'm worried about is that he'll be forced to fight. Just do as he says. Assign 100 people to Proud Heaven's 11 legions and hide them. Yes, Master. After cutting off the connection with Yilan, Si Xian's emotions were indescribable. Although she was stubborn on the surface, in her heart, she had already tried her best to think higher. However, she didn't expect that she still underestimated Chun Hao. Thinking back to when she complained that Chun Hao and the others were too slow and took him and the members of Proud Heaven back to the vast universe galaxy, Si Xian felt her face burning. Awoo! The loud howl of a wolf could be heard amidst the terrifying explosion of antimatter. Itoda licked his lips and led 30% of the enchanting woman with a big but 40% of the beautiful women and 30% of the men to launch another surprise attack. Countless ghostly cries and wolf howls resounded through the sky. Under the leadership of Itoda, the ferocious and unprincipled Wolf King, they surged out like a torrent of steel. The meteorite as large as a planet trembled, and the residual energy of the antimatter missile explosion was still raging. However, Itoda and the others were moving freely and reaping the lives of the foreign race cultivators. Itoda, the ferocious Wolf King. Itoda was bloodthirsty, unprincipled, and unscrupulous. After launching countless surprise attacks, he was crowned with this title. There was no doubt that among the generals of Proud Heaven, Itoda was the one who liked this kind of hooligan tactic the most. His subordinates, regardless of whether they were men or women, were trained by him to be like little male wolves and little female wolves. In the past 3 months, their battle record had skyrocketed, and they were the strongest of the 11 legions of Proud Heaven. Half a year ago, Proud Heaven's 11 legions had been on par with each other. But as time passed, especially in the last 3 months, the other 10 legions, with the exception of Ito Kenna's legion, were fighting less and less frequently. Apparently, because of the strength of their enemies, the other 10 legions were losing ground. Furthermore, they had long since broken the rule of 0 casualties, and the interval between their surprise attacks was getting longer and longer. Itoda was the only one who was still as arrogant as ever. Of course, the Grand Miss Sage Ito Ta was stronger than Proud Heaven's generals and generals. After all, he had a mental dimension that allowed him to send his legions into his mind at a moment's notice, allowing him to teleport back and forth more quickly. Because of this, Itoda Ito's recent battles have become the focus of the live broadcast of Vast Universe Galaxy's Second World. When countless people were watching, in their excitement, they would imitate Ito Tai and his army members and howl like wolves. Those who imitated Ito Tai would also be worshipped by the young cultivators around them. This was completely the start of the idolizing mode, and there were countless fans. This time, there was no exception. When Ito Ta howled excitedly and started to attack, all the cultivators in the Second World became excited. However, in just 1 minute. Originally, it should have lasted for 2 minutes before the Ito Terra army decisively left. But this time, it only lasted for 1 minute before a sudden change occurred. Chi, 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 chi. Amidst the chaos and raging energy, blood splattering, and debris flying in all directions, rays of brilliant, immortal light suddenly burst out like scorching suns piercing through the sky. A terrifying aura swept across the place in an instant. Oh, what? Retreat! All of you retreat. Come here. Itoda's howl stopped abruptly before it ended, and it was replaced by shock. Without any hesitation, a bright light bloomed between Itoda's eyebrows. In an instant, the surrounding subordinates were sucked into his mind with a chi-chi-chi-chi sound. At the same time, Itoda's body shook, and his essence, chi, and spirit soared into the sky. Howl, 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 howl. The roars of the 5 mythological beasts burst out from Ito Ta's roar in an instant. The pressure of the ancient beasts and Ito Ta's own pressure combined and spread wildly in all directions. His figure shot out explosively, and with the momentum of the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, he directly sucked the terrified and stunned subordinates into his mind. It was obvious that they had been subdued by the other party's pressure. Even so, there were still dozens of figures who were a step too slow, and they were turned into dust by the mighty divine power laws. Howl, howl! Itoda's long hair danced wildly in the wind, and his strength was obviously at its peak state. He crazily rushed away from the Alliance army. Good boy, you are really powerful. An old man's shout came out of the void. However, since you have met us today, don't even think about escaping. Ha ha! Bullsh asterisk T. You want to kill me? Wait until you become a cutting path, genuine immortal. Itoda roared arrogantly and disdainfully. How could he lose in a battle of words? Moreover, howl howl, break, chi-chi, boom, rumble. Itoda's true combat power was fully displayed at this moment. The sudden burst of powerful divine powers broke through the blockade of the hundreds of divine soldiers and heavenly generals. Boom, puff, F asterisk CK, you wait. I won't spit out this blood for nothing. Even so, the moment Itoda escaped, he was still bombarded by the remaining divine law. His strong physical body looked fine, but he spat out a mouthful of essence blood. He can break it? Chase him. We can't let him escape. Chi, 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 chi. The hundreds of experts seemed to be very frightened as they spoke. However, deep in their hearts, they were cold. Itoda's strength was indeed very strong, and none of them could take him down. However, they didn't care at all, because they were just rookies selected from the 900 alien experts, and they just needed to follow the vine to find the melon. I just came out of the dark room, so I updated late. Sorry. I really can't break out in the next few days. Otherwise, I will really stop updating. Please support Wushan with the monthly votes. Thank you. Chapter 1123. 100 experts from each of the 9 galaxies had secretly arrived at the armies of the Alliance of the 9 Galaxies a month ago. It took them a month to figure out the only one among the cunning Proud Heaven's army, Itoda army. That was why they were besieging him now. However, these 100 people were the weakest among the 900 people. Itoda army was just following the vine to find the melon. Itoda army seemed to be using all of his strength to escape. The 100 experts chased after him aggressively. From time to time, they would use powerful divine abilities in an attempt to kill Itoda army. However, they failed every time. Although this kid is not slow, he is not as difficult to deal with as the rumors say. Rumors are always false. When has it not been like this? If we had come out earlier, we would have killed this kid long ago. That is not necessarily true. If we had come out earlier, how could the experts of the human race not come out? This time, we might not be able to do it smoothly. I don't believe that the leader of the human race is not prepared. It is useless to be prepared. This time, the 9 galaxies have sent out all of their forces. Even if the top experts of the human race come out, God of Slaughter Chun Hao will not be able to escape death, as long as he dares to come. No one had expected that the 100 experts of the 9 galaxies would be communicating with each other while chasing Itoda army. Obviously, they were not using all of their strength. However, they also did not expect that Itoda army, who seemed to be using all of his strength, would reveal a trace of undetectable sinister. What should we do? What should we do? Wild Wolf King, you have to hold on. Wild Wolf King will not die. No, he will not die. God of Slaughter, Chun Hao, and the core generals of the Proud Heavens will definitely save him. Definitely. Despicable alien race. They actually arranged 100 top experts to kill Wild Wolf King. Wild Wolf King, do your best. Do your best. God of Slaughter Chun Hao, where are you? Proud Heaven's core generals, where are you? In the second world, all the human cultivators, who had been immersed in the thrill of Wild Wolf King Edo Tai and his army, were all startled by the sudden change. They saw Edo Tai not choose to run away at the first moment when he was besieged by over 100 powerful non-humankind beings. Instead, he released a terrifying power and brought all of his subordinates into his big world as fast as he could. After that, he crazily broke through, seeing Edo Tai spitting out blood because of those powerful non-humankind beings' attacks. They became even more worried. Now, Edo Tai was flying at an amazing speed, but over 100 powerful non-humankind beings were chasing after him like shadows. They launched attacks from time to time, making Edo Tai's body covered in blood. Everybody started praying and shouting for Edo Tai. Itoda, Long Yi, Fan Dong Lu, Fan Dong Sheng, and the others knew that Itoda was his brother and sister, and they clenched their fists nervously. The arrogant Wild Wolf King had no moral integrity, no bottom line, no taboos, and he did whatever he wanted. However, at this moment, he was no longer as confident as before. His whole body was covered in blood, and he was running for his life. In the second world, everybody saw that Edo Tai's injuries were getting more and more serious, and their hearts were getting heavier and heavier. Some young women's eyes were red, and tears blurred their eyes uncontrollably. Although they were crying, they still insisted on cheering for Edo Tai. Although they knew that Edo Tai couldn't hear their voices, and although they knew that Edo Tai might die in the next second, they still didn't stop. These were the brain-dead fans that Edo Tai had conquered during this period of time. Especially in the last 2 or 3 months, the core generals of Proud Heaven had been performing less and less, which made Edo Tai stand out and win countless fans. Hurry up. Asterisk chi 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 asterisk. Do you see this rune? Release your strongest power and merge it with the rune. 100 people in a group, take turns and don't stop. Yes, leader. Chun Shui was in her aircraft, and she gave the order nervously. At this moment, Chun Shui's 10,000-strong army had all entered her battleship and activated the rune that had never been activated before. This was originally a high-tech battleship of the Sky River sector, But the battleships of Chun Shui, Hu Mainyang, Pan Long, and the other commanders of the 11th Legion had been simply modified by Chun Hao. But until now, the 11th Legion had never used this ability. First of all, if they used it, they couldn't hide the fluctuation of the divine power and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Second of all, they had never been forced to use it. But now, the emergency rescue message from Commander Si Xian and a live broadcast of the information after the token was directly connected to them made Chen Shui extremely nervous. Without any hesitation, she gathered everyone in the Legion into her aircraft and activated the huge acceleration rune. Just by pouring in energy, the speed of the battleship would increase by several times. Hurry up, all of you, hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! At the same time, the battleships of Humaiyang, Helian Wuzi, Pan Long, Du Jing, Lan Feng, Chun Nan, and the other corps generals of Proud Heaven were like Qin Shui. They immediately activated the acceleration rune and rushed madly towards the location indicated by Edo Tai's token. Boom! Almost at the same time, the tails of the 10 battleships shot out violent divine power energy. Buzz! The 10 battleships directly turned into flickering light spots and traveled tens of millions of miles in an instant. So fast, a total of 192 top human experts hidden in the 10 battleships were shocked at this time. Beep, beep, beep. Soon the screens of the 10 battleships of Proud Heaven were all connected. Sister-in-law, have any of you contacted boss? Du Jing asked as soon as he appeared. We can't contact him. Don't be too nervous. Edo Tai is in the Hongmeng realm. The 18 top human experts can't be contacted at the moment. Naturally, they're in the great world in his mind. It won't be a problem for him to hold on for a while. Let's chase after him as fast as we can. Hu Mainyang said, That's right. Let's rush over at full speed. This may be our most difficult battle. Chen Shui said, Sister-in-law Xiao Shui, why do you say that? As long as we get there, what are their 100 experts? They will be wiped out in minutes. Coiling Dragon said, We have 200 top human experts, but these 100 people may just be using Edo Tai to lure us and boss. Moreover, we can't contact boss now. I'm afraid. Boss is in Edo Tai's great world in his mind. Du Jing's eyes shone brightly. No need to think about it. It must be. During this time, he let us attack less and let us constantly change places without any pattern. Only Edo Tai is doing the same. Helian Wuzi said softly. F*CK. I'm so nervous. That dog Wolf King's acting is so good. Did boss teach him? The nervous Lan Feng let out a sigh of relief and scolded. Big brother hero, Edo Tai's acting is very good. Just when Lan Feng was scolding Edo Tai's acting, in Edo Tai's great world in his mind, the nurse Lu we could not help but say, If you're really injured like this, your acting will also be very good. Chen Hao also used a wisp of divine sense to sense Edo Tai's state through Edo Tai's great world in his mind. He pinched the nurse's face and said, TSK, I don't need to. I can act very well even if I'm not injured. I'm the first female lead hiding behind the scenes. Well, you'd better calm down and prepare. We don't know how effective it will be. I've already prepared. I'm just waiting for Big Brother Hero's order. This little girl will pour tea, wash clothes, cook rice, massage shoulders, warm the bed, and go through fire and water. Stop. I'll do anything. Hee. Well, Chen Hao, when are we going to take action? Edo Tai is quite pitiful. What's the hurry? Come on my great world in my mind first. They are following the vine to find a melon. We are luring the snake out of its hole. If I don't appear, they won't appear. When it's about time, we will quietly go out with the 18 experts. Why we have to be so quiet? You're the first female lead hiding behind the scenes. I just don't want to think about it. Big Brother Hero is here. A little girl with a bit of mental retardation is lovable. Do you understand? Well, you continue to be mentally retarded. Chen Hao said speechlessly. After that, he thought of something and said, When it's about time, release the 18 experts first. I will sneak out with them. Master, it's still early. What's this injury? When I was in the depths of the chaotic space, I was injured 100 times more seriously than this. Led them further away. It will take about half a day for the sisters-in-law and Pamlong to catch up with us. After hearing Ito Tai's words, Chen Hao frowned slightly and thought for a moment. After a while, he said, "Inform them. When they reach the edge of the sensing range, surround them and stand by. Try to kill all of them at once." Master, this. Will it work? What do you think? I'm afraid it won't work. All of them. The ancestors of the Shao family might be there, and their total number is probably a lot. We only have 200 top experts of the human race. It is indeed a bit difficult. Whether we can succeed or not depends on Shao Hui. Cough, cough. This little sister-in-law. Ito Tai was deeply suspicious. In fact, apart from Helian Wuzi, Yilan, his mother, and Si Xian, Itoda, Ao Tian, and the others knew of Lu Hui's existence. However, they didn't know the real situation of Lu Hui. Ito Tai, sister-in-law, is sister-in-law. What little? Big sister-in-law. Big what? I'm not big. Every year I bloom. I'm already 18 years old. Chen Hao had a headache. Sister-in-law. And that's more like it. Ito Tai, don't look down on me. Sister-in-law is very powerful. It's just that you don't know. Yes. If Ito Tai was not speaking with his divine sense, he would have sweated profusely. It was not that he was afraid of the nurse, but the other party was the mistress. He was lawless, and the only heaven was his master. How would he dare to refute his master's woman? A group of pigs, can't you be gentler? If this goes on, that kid will die before he can come here. Take it easy. Yes, while Chun Hao was communicating with Ito Ta, there were 9 cultivators from different galaxies among the 100 people. They were also communicating with their respective leaders in their mind worlds. The Jin family of the Tyrant clan had another master who appeared out of nowhere. The mother of the Insect clan, the grandfather of Gao Cohen from the Dark Demon clan, the father of Lu Qinya and Lu Qianri from the Protoss clan, and the elders of the Top WO realm from the major star regions that Chun Hao had captured alive in the 10 Square territory, and so on. They were all top masters who wanted to kill Chun Hao with their own hands, try to delay as much as possible. Chun Hao is very fast. As long as he arrives, we can take action. As for Ao Tian and the others, we can take care of them slowly. We can't delay for too long. At this moment, Ito Tai is in danger. The masters of the human clan will definitely come to rescue him. We must seize the opportunity. What are you afraid of? How would they know that we used 900 people? Even if they guessed that we didn't have 100 people, they wouldn't expect us to hide so many people. Besides, even if more than half of the top masters of the human clan come, who can trap us? We just need to kill them. We must delay until Chun Hao, the god of killing, arrives. This is our main goal. We must kill him. That's true, Mother of Asterisk Kerr. How ambitious. Do I need your pity? Ito Tai was indeed seriously injured, but that was according to the endurance of ordinary masters. Ito Tai, who had drifted in the depths of the chaotic space for more than 10,000 years, had absolutely exceeded everyone's imagination. Even Chun Hao had to admit that the current Ito Tai was very abnormal. Moreover, during this period, Chun Hao had heard more or less about Ito Tai's style, but Chun Hao ignored it. This was Ito Tai's nature. It didn't matter if he had no moral integrity or no bottom line, as long as he had a bottom line. The matter of him messing with the flirtatious woman proved that Ito Tai had no moral integrity, but also proved that Ito Tai adhered to Chun Hao's bottom line as his master. It was all consensual and not forced. At this moment, Ito Tai felt that the other party was chasing after him like a shadow, but his attacks were not as destructive as before. Although this change was very small, how could Itoda, who already knew the other party's intention, not know the other party's purpose? Of course, this was also what Chun Hao and Ito Tai wanted. They needed more time. Ito Tai's command token was connected to Commander Si Xian when the army attacked. Naturally, it was impossible to break it now. Si Xian's command token was connected to the members of the Proud Heavens army and transmitted to Yilan in real time. Yilon was an old fox who had lived for billions of years. He had already guessed Chun Hao's intention from the signs of the proud Heaven's army. This was why there was a live broadcast in the second world. At this moment, Edo Tai, who was covered in blood, was still broadcasting in every city of the second world. For hours had passed, being chased by over 100 powerful non-humankind beings. The wild wolf king Edo Ta, who had been severely wounded and covered in blood, had been fleeing for 2 whole hours. No one knew the specific situation. Everyone was worried and praying for Edo Tai. They really wanted to know who was on the way to rescue Atoda, and who could arrive in time. Was the killing god, Chun Hao, there? Were the core warriors of the proud Heaven's army there? Were the top experts of the human race sent out? However, the second world, which was completely controlled by Yilon, had not broadcasted any rescue information. Leader, let us out. We will fight with them. Leader, I beg you. We are not willing to die like this. Leader, please give us a chance to fight to the death. In Edo Tai's mind, the 10,000 members of the army were completely cut off from the outside world. Although they did not know the situation Edo Tai was facing, they knew how terrifying the hundreds of experts were. 8 hours had passed, and Edo Tai still had not released them. Obviously, he was still running for his life. They couldn't imagine how their leader, Atoda, managed to hold on for so long under the pursuit of hundreds of terrifying experts. At this moment, many beauties with big butts and beautiful women, as well as about 30% of the men, were kneeling in Edo Tai's mind, begging for a fight. Get up with me. Don't make trouble for me. Okay? Do you want to go out and die? Or do you want to run away? We swear to live and die together with our leader. Am I dead? I'm fine. If I am really not able to survive, I would have let you out long ago. As many of you can run away, it is easy for a few hundred of you to run away. Leader, we don't want to live alone. I don't care. I just want to tell you that except for the few short-lived people at the beginning, since you are in my mind, none of you will die. Okay, I will show you who is beside you. Although Edo Tai's mouth was full of vulgarities, he was touched by everyone's eagerness to fight. 10,000 Hongmeng Supremes were willing to live and die together with him. This was something he had never expected, especially when he saw the sparkling eyes of the hundreds of beauties with big butts that he had taken the time to sleep with. It made him feel a little strange. He secretly decided in his heart that he must restrain himself a little in the future. Even if they were both willing to take what they wanted, but after rolling around in bed, they would more or less develop some feelings for each other. Edo Tai did not intend to bring a group of beauties with big butts to follow his master. Asterisk, voila. Asterisk, in order to make everyone not worry about him, Edo Tai directly opened a little bit of the divine awareness of the 10,000 practitioners sealed in a space in his mind world. Suddenly, everyone saw 2 figures sitting not far away from them while they were puzzled. Ah! Immediately, screams full of joy and excitement burst out from everyone's mouth. It was the killing god, Chun Hao. Who else could the handsome and extraordinary young man be other than the killing god Chun Hao? The beautiful girl next to him, who was wearing strange clothes to them, was unfamiliar. But just by sensing the girl's aura, everyone was shocked. The aura of the peak of the heavenly immortal stage was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. Especially the mysterious and oppressive spiritual energy, even the Supremes of Hongmeng could not imagine. A 5,000-word chapter. The annual meeting can only be maintained for the next few days, 5,000 words per chapter. Brothers and sisters, please support Wushan. Recommendation tickets, monthly tickets. Thank you. Chapter 1124. God of Slaughter, Chun Hao. Greetings, God of Slaughter, Chun Hao. Amidst the cries of surprise, after a brief moment of daze, they excitedly bowed to Chun Hao. How strong was God of Slaughter, Chun Hao? They couldn't tell at all. They had only seen brief but horrifying scenes of slaughter when the army occasionally encountered them. At the same time, they also knew that the God of Slaughter, Chun Hao, alone had quietly captured nearly 900 legions of the Alliance of the Nine Galaxies. He had even killed dozens of legions, including the large legions. Itoda was the leader they worshipped, but Chun Hao, the killing god, was the core general of proud heaven, and the entire human race looked up to him. Now, he had finally appeared in front of them. This was like a reassuring pill that swept away all of their uneasiness just a moment ago. F***CK. What the F***CK? Ito Toda paid too much attention to the appearance of the 10,000 people. When he found that the girl with big buttocks, whose eyes were sparkling, which made him a little moved and scared, was now looking at his master with an expression of wanting to raise her buttocks, Ito Toda scolded and immediately felt no psychological pressure. This kind of person might be moved, but they would never be moved by only one person. When they saw the super existence of their master, they would almost fall in love with him. What was there for Ito Ta to worry about? I just want to let you see my master. Are you relieved? F***CK. Chi. As Ito Ta spoke, he sealed the 10,000 people into a separate space. He didn't want this group of people to peep at his master. Leader, what are you doing now? Has it been resolved? Settled? It's still early. Master doesn't care about these small fishes. Of course, they don't care about me. Their target is my master. If my master doesn't appear, these bastards won't do anything to me. When the time comes, I'll show you a good show. He he he. After Ito Ta finished speaking, he disappeared in front of everyone, leaving behind a dazed expression on everyone's faces. 12 hours later, Ito Ta's speed was getting slower and slower. In everyone's opinion, he was seriously injured and had reached his limit. He couldn't hold on for much longer. On the other hand, the hundreds of foreign race experts seemed to be exhausted after flying for a long time. Chi, 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 chi. But at this moment, a bright light suddenly shone from between Itota's eyebrows. 18 human cultivators appeared out of thin air. Their auras were much stronger than ordinary human cultivators. A bunch of idiots. Do you really think I'm alone? Kakik. Kill these bastards for me. Itota, who was arrogant and despotic, suddenly stopped running away. He, who was covered in blood, was the first to suddenly attack. Kill. Boom. Boom. Chi. Chi. Without any hesitation, the 18 experts' spirit and fighting spirit soared crazily. In an instant, they lined up on both sides of Itota and attacked violently. What? As expected, he was prepared. 18 people? You are courting death. Boom. Boom. At this time, the exhaustion of the 100 foreign race experts was swept away, replaced by fierce killing intent and monstrous battle intent. A great battle broke out. Terrifying power and pressure instantly flooded the entire space. Within the second world of vast universe galaxy, countless cries of alarm erupted. Everyone was dismayed, but it was as if they had seen the dawn of hope. Instantly, they became spirited. There are 18 human experts hidden in the Wild Wolf King's mind. That's the supreme elder of our sect. Look, that's the supreme elder of our sect. In the major cities of the second world, many cultivators quickly recognized the identities of the 18 experts who had almost completely faded out of the world of cultivation. All of them became excited. The power of the 18 experts and Itota together was no less than the weakest expert among the 900 opponents. Chi. At the beginning of the battle, when they found out that the 18 people were extremely powerful, 9 of the most powerful alien race experts among the 100 alien race experts had a crystal light flashing between their eyebrows. In an instant, 9 old men appeared in the void. Their auras were restrained, and their cold eyes made people unable to tell how strong they were. However, the disdain in their eyes, and their disdain for the 18 people of the human clan and Itota, gave people a feeling that they were superior and disdained to fight with the 18 people of the human clan and Itota. Itota, what other power do you have? Take it all out. That's not enough. Ha ha ha. Just you? Let me tell you, don't think that you're so great just because you're hiding a few experts. My master will be here soon. Just wait for him. Ha 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 ha. Everyone, hold on. It will be their time to die. Facing the mocking voice of an old man, Ito said arrogantly, Killing God. Chun Hao will be here soon? Very well, then let's kill them all. Ha ha ha. I would like to see what the legendary killing god, Chun Hao, is capable of. Unfortunately, it's useless to scare us. How dare he show up? Killing God Chun Hao, killing God Chun Hao, killing God Chun Hao. When a non-humankind powerhouse was slightly surprised and disdained to deal with Idota in a provocative and disdainful way, the second human world burst into exclamations. However, he didn't know if Itoda was as alarmist as the foreign cultivator said. A gust of wind blended into everything in the world. When the 18 human experts came out of Itoda's mind, it immediately drifted into the distance. Why are they so careful? What made Chun Hao frown slightly was that when he locked onto one of the experts from the tyrants, an elder who had restrained his aura came out from between his eyebrows. Similarly, 8 people from the other 8 galaxies also came out from between the eyebrows of the rookies. This made Chun Hao's wish to kill the rookies directly and destroy the real experts from the tyrants come to nothing. There is no doubt that the 9 people who had just appeared were the leaders of the experts from the 9 galaxies. Although the aura of the elder from the tyrants was extremely restrained, Chun Hao could still sense the terrifying power contained in his body. In that case, we can only fight. After thinking for a short while, Chun Hao no longer hesitated. The 18 of them and Itoda had no problem dealing with 100 rookies, provided that the 9 experts from the other side didn't make a move. Moreover, Chun Hao didn't believe that the other side only had so few people. There must be other cultivators hiding in the mind of a 9-life expert. As for how many there were, Chun Hao couldn't estimate it. It's about time. Itoda should be right. With Chun Hao's speed, he should appear soon. You guys be careful. Chun Hao is good at hiding. Don't get killed. While Chun Hao was thinking, the expert from the Tyrant's gene family, who was also the Shao family's patriarch, who was at the 9th life, spoke to the other 8 leaders telepathically. Understood. There was no need for the Shao family's patriarch to remind them. Although they seemed to be restraining their aura, they were actually on the verge of exploding. Their divine senses surrounded them for thousands of miles. Not even the slightest fluctuation could escape their senses. Chi! Suddenly, without any warning, a dazzling spear light suddenly cut through the void from nearly 100 million miles away and attacked. Rumble! Before the spear light arrived, the entire sky seemed to be torn apart. Wind and thunder rose. Killing God, Chun Hao. Almost in an instant, the foreign race experts were slightly surprised, and their eyes were filled with ferocity. The 9 experts did not hesitate and moved at the same time. However, they didn't meet the spear light head-on. Instead, they instantly spread out to the sides. The 9 of them formed an open semicircle, waiting for Chun Hao's arrival. They would seal his mouth and make it impossible for him to escape. Killing God Chun Hao. With only a short delay, the dazzling spear light appeared in various places in the second world of the human race. Countless people burst into excited cheers at this moment. Although the battle scenes of Killing God Chun Hao had only been captured a few times in the past 3 years, the image of him holding the Overlord spear was deeply ingrained in people's minds. Who else could this dazzling spear light be other than Killing God Chun Hao? Killing God Chun Hao? Break for me. One of the 100 rookies, sensing the terrifying spear light rolling towards him, suddenly burst out a powerful attack, but his figure quickly dodged to the side. He could feel the pressure brought by the spear light, and he couldn't resist it directly. Chun Hao, who was one with the spear, crossed hundreds of millions of miles in an instant. After piercing through the attacks of the foreign race cultivators, he came to the side of Itoda and the 18 experts without any hindrance. Master! Itoda's face was full of excitement, but there was no surprise. The 18 experts of the human race, who had already known the plan, nodded slightly to Chun Hao with a dignified look and immediately protected Chun Hao in the middle. Chun Hao looked calm. In the face of the surrounding cultivators, who had stopped attacking but quickly surrounded Chun Hao, Itoda, and the others completely, he didn't seem to be afraid at all, especially when the 9 leaders of the other side suddenly released nearly 800 cultivators, whose aura was much stronger than that of the previous 100 cultivators. Chun Hao's calmness was even more incredible. This surprised the experts of the foreign race, and, at the same time, they were disdainful. Wasn't he just a little Daluo Jinxian? No matter how abnormal he was, how powerful could he be? Among the 900 people, at least 20 of them were close to the strength of a cutting path genuine immortal, and several of their leaders were even more unfathomable. Even an ordinary cutting path genuine immortal would have to submit to them. But at this time, they naturally wouldn't say much. This was undoubtedly what they wanted to see the most. Otherwise, if Chun Hao, the killing god, directly led Itoda and the others to break through the encirclement, it would inevitably waste more time. When the experts of the human race arrived, it would take more time, and some of them would die. You should rest. Come in. Chun Hao's glabella shone with crystal light, which covered Itoda and the others. Master, Brother Chun, you have a chance to fight? Chun Hao said unquestionably. Yes. They just glanced at the hundreds of terrifying cultivators who suddenly appeared around them. After a slight hesitation, they responded in unison. They knew very well that the current situation was not something that the 18 of them and Itoda could compete with. If they stayed outside, they would be purely seeking death, and they would also be a burden to Chun Hao, the killing god. Although they didn't know how strong Chun Hao's real strength was, at this time, Chun Hao's calm appearance made them feel at ease. Master, don't seal me, my token is still in a connected state. Okay. Chun Hao nodded. Chi, 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 chi. Immediately, Itoda and the 18 people directly entered Chun Hao's mind space. At this time, there was no need to hide because the 900 cultivators exposed by the 9 galaxies had surrounded him. Similarly, in addition to Itoda, the 10 legions and the top experts of the human race were also waiting outside. But this time, Chun Shui and the others couldn't stay calm. Through the battleship and the token, at this moment, they could clearly see the situation that Chun Hao, Itoda, and the others were facing. 900 people. Moreover, they were much stronger than the previous 100 people by a large margin. The fact that Proud Heaven had so many top experts on their side was completely beyond their wildest imaginations. After all, even if they combined the forces of Proud Heaven and the humans, they only had about 200 people. Chi, 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 chi. The 900 people formed an encirclement, but no one took the initiative to attack Chun Hao. Instead, under the control of the 9 leaders, a powerful seal was released, sealing the sky and forbidden area. Chun Hao also quietly floated in the air with the Overlord spear in his hand. His dark eyes were filled with a cold aura, but he also didn't make a move, as if waiting for the other party to completely seal the surrounding space. This arrogance and confidence made all the human cultivators of the second world, including Chun Shui and the others, sweat in their palms. However, when Chun Hao came out from Itoda's forehead, his personal intelligence connected to everyone and told them to wait for orders. What is this kid doing? In the vast universe galaxy's holy palace, Yilan couldn't sit still, staring at the image that appeared on the controller token, frowning. If the members of the Proud Heavens and the 200 top experts of the human race rushed over, Yilan believed that the final victory would belong to the human race. Of course, in the end, more than half of them would die. This was something that couldn't be helped. No one could always maintain 0 casualties in a war. This was especially true in a chaotic battle between top experts like this, which was even more impossible. The only thing they could hope for was the final victory. But now, the domineering Chun Hao had ordered everyone to wait for orders from afar, even allowing the 900 people to join forces and lay down the terrifying seal that sealed the sky and forbidden area. This was tantamount to cutting off Chun Hao's wings. After all, speed and concealment were Chun Hao's strongest points, but after being sealed by the 900 people, Chun Hao had lost any chance of escaping. After all, no matter how strong Chun Hao was, he couldn't break through the seal formed by 900 top experts. How could Yilan not be worried? But now, the seal was being formed at an extremely fast speed, so no matter how worried he was, it was useless. In fact, if Yilan had stopped them from the start, he would have been able to make it in time. But he didn't. Because of Chun Hao's expression, He understood that even if he sent the order through Si Xian, the kid probably wouldn't carry it out. Brother Yi Tianzi, Snowplum True Immortal, was even more nervous. I don't know either. I can only watch. This brat, this old man really can't guess what other trump cards he has. Allowing the other party to lay down the seal, could it be that he wants to have a life and death battle with 900 people? That old bastard from the Tyrants is obviously that old bastard's clone. Buzz! Si Xian, hurry up. Go as fast as you can. Yilan urged. Yes, master. Yilan was just as nervous. When Atota's army began to change, he had already set off. Moreover, her master had ordered her to bring more than half of the top experts in the human territory. Previously, Si Xian didn't understand why her master was making such a big fuss, but now it seemed that her master was the real old fox. Although the old fox and the little fox didn't communicate, the old fox seemed to know all of the little fox's intentions. However, although Si Xian had increased her speed to the maximum, she was still slower than the proud Heaven Legion's main battleship. It would take her at least an hour to arrive. At the same time, the communication tokens of the 900 people of the Outsiders were also open. The rulers of the 9 galaxies, the Jin family of the Tyrants, and other high-level Dao, severing perfected immortals were also paying attention to the progress of the 900 experts. At this moment, seeing that the god of slaughter Chun Hao was completely sealed in this world, the high-level officials of the 9 galaxies heaved a long sigh of relief. However, they looked at Chun Hao with a trace of doubt and confusion. Did this kid think that he had the strength to fight against 900 experts? Why did he let them seal him? Even the Shao family's patriarch couldn't figure it out. He didn't think that Chun Hao could be so heaven-defying that there was no limit to it. However, after a few encounters, he also knew that the god of slaughter Chun Hao was a terrifying monster who hadn't grown up yet. He was definitely not a brainless person. Why was he doing this? He couldn't figure it out. No one could figure it out. The only thing they could do was wait. Wait for the next battle to come, and the truth would naturally come to light. The outside world was a mess. Some were anxious, some were nervous, some were waiting, and some were looking forward to it. However, in the completely sealed space where the 900 experts of the Outsiders and Chun Hao were, there was only silence as they stared at each other. Chun Hao, who was holding the Overlord's spear, didn't show any change in his expression. Only his eyes became sharper and brighter. His spiritual altar became even more dazzling. The members of Ao Tian, Yilan, Shui, Mei perfected immortal, all the human cultivators in the second world, and all the high-level officials of the 9 galaxies held their breaths and stared at one person. The god of slaughter Chun Hao. That's it. Finally, Chun Hao was the first to speak. His eyes were fixed directly on the leader of the Tyrants. Kid, this old man is very curious. Why are you so calm? Why? Old man, because I know all your secrets. Do you think I don't know who you are just because you changed your turtle shell? You old B** starred from the Tyrant Clan's Gene family. Oh, I should call you old B** starred Shao from the human race, right? Chun Hao's calm expression finally changed. It became playful, arrogant, disdainful, and wise. Old man doesn't understand what you're talking about. Old man only knows that you're dead meat today. Kill. Boom. The Shao family's patriarch's 9th life didn't change his expression at all. However, a terrifying pressure and killing intent burst out from him as he suddenly gave the order. 5,000 plus words, looking for monthly votes and recommendation votes. Chapter 1125. There was no doubt that Chun Hao's words made the Shao clan's patriarch realize that his worst guess had become a cruel reality. The Golden Dragon was already under Chun Hao's control. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Chun Hao to know this secret, much less guess his identity. He did not dare to let Chun Hao continue, regardless of whether others believed it or not. As long as Chun Hao said it, it would arouse the suspicion of people from other galaxies. Boom! A majestic and terrifying aura, which contained a horrifying aura, suddenly gushed out from Chun Hao's body. Holding the golden spear horizontally, he pointed it at the Shao clan's patriarch and said sternly, "What's the matter? You're scared after I just said one sentence? The tyrant's gene clan is very strong. From time to time, there will be a number one expert in a realm. The golden dragon is one, and you're another, right? Old Shao, is this your ninth life? Have you stripped away all the aura of a cutting path, perfected immortal, and imprisoned it at the peak of Hongming? Isn't it just to kill me? Why do you have to be so ruthless? Nonsense. All of you attack. Chi, 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 Chi. The Shao clan's patriarch saw that Chen Hao was able to easily withstand his pressure. Chen Hao's figure was like a ghost. In a flash, he moved through the sealed space and easily avoided the attacks of the tyrants. While he was enraged, he had no choice but to make the first move. Streaks of terrifying sword light directly tore through the void. Carrying the mysterious laws of supernatural powers, they blocked all the directions that Chen Hao could dodge in. At the same time, he took a step forward and arrived in front of Chen Hao. His shocking sword suddenly stabbed out. At this moment, Chen Hao's idle left hand condensed into a jade-green crystal lotus at an astonishing speed. At this moment, except for the cutting path perfected immortals who did not feel much, most people were attracted by the jade-green refinement. Chi! Bang! In the battleships of proud heaven's 10 legions, in the vast universe galaxy's holy temple, in the second world, and the world inside Chen Hao's mind, Edo Ta and all the other people who had been watching Chen Hao nervously began to scream in terror. When Xiao Mei, Chen Xiaoqing, and the others in the second world saw this scene, they couldn't withstand the fear and fainted. Blood. One move. The heaven-defying attack that the Shao clan's patriarch suddenly executed pierced through Chen Hao's glabella with just one move, directly turning his body into a bloody mist. Crack! Rumble! At this moment, along with Yi Lan's extreme fear, anger, and confusion, the temple began to tremble. Soon after, the stars of the entire vast universe galaxy began to tremble. Perfected immortal Shui Mei's face was extremely pale, and her mind went blank for a moment. However, in the battleships of Proud Heaven's Legion, only Chen Shui, Helian Wuzi, and a few others who had asked Chen how about the details of the battle just stared in shock. They didn't feel much fear because they thought of the abnormal monster in Chen Hao's memory, Zhou Qinglong. The humans couldn't describe their feelings at this moment. Shock, sadness, disappointment. Yes, disappointment. In the hearts of the human cultivators, killing God Chen Hao had long been an irreplaceable spiritual pillar. He was the creator of miracles, the existence that everyone looked forward to the most. But the previously calm and collected Yilan, he was killed so easily. This was simply too unexpected. Although everyone could see that the attack launched by the tyrants was extremely powerful, the target was killing God Chen Hao. How could he die without even having time to react? Good. Amazing. Ha! Killing God Chen Hao is just so. Mother of Asterisker, I thought he had something powerful to rely on, but it turns out that he was just pretending. How stupid is he to pretend to be like this? Ha! Unlike the humans, although the upper echelons of the 9 galaxies were surprised that Chen Hao was killed so easily, it was undoubtedly a good thing. Although killing God Chen Hao's words previously aroused the doubts of the 9 rulers, including the rulers of the tyrants, they didn't care too much at this moment. After all, in a war, anything that could sow discord could happen. The Jin family was one of the oldest families in the tyrants. How could it be the Shao family's patriarch? However, at this moment, something strange happened that caused the humans to erupt into cries of surprise and madness, and caused the upper echelons of the 9 galaxies to almost drop their eyeballs to the ground. That's right, didn't that trash use this move when he was in the 10th life? This life of yours is much stronger than that trash's. This is the highest realm that only Tao-severing perfected immortals can comprehend. Chen Hao, who had clearly been blasted into smithereens by the Shao clan's patriarch, actually appeared in another direction unscathed. He still held the Overlord spear horizontally, and his aura and expression did not change in the slightest as he stared at the Shao clan's patriarch with a resplendent gaze. Hiss, 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 While all the foreign race cultivators were stunned and gasping, slender tentacles shot out from between Chun Hao's eyebrows like strands of dark green silk. They seemed to be moving slowly, but they were moving at a speed of thousands of miles in an instant toward the seal barrier formed by the 900 foreign race experts. What was even more shocking was that each strand of dark green silk seemed to be flashing, containing the mysteries of space-time laws. Immortal, a true immortal body? Tao, manifestation, immortal fruit tree? Kill, kill, kill them all. The Shao family's patriarch was the first to roar. The other leaders of the 8 galaxies also narrowed their eyes and gave the order. A bunch of idiots. You don't even know that you're being used as a tool. I'm talking to you, the rulers of the 9 galaxies. Did you hear that? Close your dog eyes and think about it. Since the 10-Direction Territory Alliance was formed, didn't you have a persuader by your side? And he's extremely powerful, comparable to your so-called rulers. This time, it's the human race. If the human race's vast universe galaxy is destroyed, it'll be you idiots next time. Unfortunately, even the 9 Galaxies Alliance won't be able to complete the first step. Shao family's old fart. Oh, Jin family's patriarch, you're also watching, right? Boom. In the meantime, Chun Hao was engulfed by the terrifying attacks. His body was once again reduced to ashes, giving the impression that both his body and soul had been destroyed. However, Chun Hao's voice did not stop at all. It was just that when he was destroyed, he suddenly appeared in another direction. At this moment, if the crazy Zhou Qinglong was here, he would be so shocked that his jaw would drop to the ground. This was because he was the incarnation of the Tree of Life. However, his comprehension of the true essence of life was not as high as Chun Hao's. The moment Chun Hao was destroyed, his essence, energy, spirit, and body, which had turned into a bloody mist, disappeared completely. There wasn't even a trace of vitality left. Chun Hao condensed again. The green thread that extended from his glabella didn't change at all. It was still spreading in all directions at lightning speed. Monster! Undying monster! The experts present felt a chill in their hearts. How is this possible? How is this possible? The upper echelons of the 9 galaxies who were paying attention to this place through their tokens roared. When Chun Hao called them out by name, their leaders frowned slightly and looked at the person beside them. However, the Jin family's patriarch was calm and composed. His expression was full of disdain. The rulers hurriedly looked away and didn't say anything. The rulers of the other 8 galaxies looked at the people who were also calm and composed. Good boy, good boy. He actually condensed the Tree of Life and the Tao, manifestation, immortal fruit tree into his body. Complete fusion. 3rd anima. 4th anima. Perverted. This is too perverted. Yilan was so excited that his beard trembled. He couldn't help but tug on it. He lost control of his emotions. Snow plumbed true immortal's heart, which had almost collapsed because of Chun Hao, finally caught her breath. In the second world of the human race, when Chun Hao appeared in Scathe, everyone was stunned. Then, they burst into cheers that resounded through the heavens and earth. Xiao Mei and Chan Xiaoqing, who had fainted and fallen out of the second world, were awakened by the people around them. The 10 battleships of proud heaven's 10 legions burst into cheers. Si Xian, who had almost fallen out of the void and was rushing desperately, cursed Chun Hao and sped up again. Itoda and the others in Chun Hao's mind thought that they would collapse along with Chun Hao. Then, they discovered that they could still sense the situation outside. Moreover, there were no fluctuations in Chun Hao's mind world. When this emotion appeared, it happened to be the first time Chun Hao collapsed and condensed again. Itoda directly let out a wolf howl, grabbed the 2 beauties with big butts, and squeezed them hard. He didn't care that this was his master's mind world. Itoda naturally knew that his master had cultivated the abnormal Zhou Qinglong's innate skill. In fact, how could he have just cultivated it? Only Yilan, who had seen beyond his realm, could see the essence of Chun Hao. Fusion. He had used the 9 lives profound technique, which surpassed the Shao clan's ancestors, to condense the Tao manifestation immortal fruit tree and the Tree of Life into the 3rd and 4th animus and completely fused with his main body. What kind of concept was the fusion of the Tao manifestation, immortal fruit tree, and the tree of life? It could only be said that there was no such thing as the most abnormal, only more abnormal. Everyone, if you don't want to die, don't be fooled by this kid. If you let him sow discord and stall for time, you know the consequences. The Shao clan's patriarch stopped attacking. He knew that continuing to kill like this would only be a waste of energy. There was no effect at all. He directly transmitted his voice to everyone. An undying monster. The Shao clan's patriarch concluded that it was related to the Tao manifestation immortal fruit tree and Chun Hao's bloodline origin. However, he didn't know how Chun Hao did it. He didn't know about the existence of the tree of life. However, he, who had lived for hundreds of millions of years, knew that if he wanted to kill Chun Hao, he had to first imprison him, seal his aura, and directly refine him. He couldn't just kill him like this. Whether he instigated it or not, I will kill this kid. My 2 sons with the God King physique died at the hands of this kid. This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. Divine race, listen to my orders. Kill him. The divine race's leader didn't even need to transmit his voice. Wait, it's useless to kill him. The Shao clan's patriarch angrily stopped him. Useless? If it's useless once, I'll kill him twice. If it's useless twice, I'll kill him 3 times. If it's useless 3 times, I'll kill him 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. I don't believe that he can collapse endlessly. The divine race's leader said disdainfully. That's right. Gotta massacre Chun Hao. Do you know who I am? Morris, do you still remember me? You are indeed very strong. So strong that it's beyond my expectations. However, you will definitely die today. The insect race's leader's charming but cold voice resounded throughout the entire space. Similarly, she didn't transmit her voice. It was obvious that she was the same as the divine race's leader. She was deeply suspicious and disgusted by the tyrant's expert who had appeared out of nowhere. Didn't you notice that his essence, chi, spirit, true essence, and vitality didn't even lose a single bit? It's true that he can't collapse endlessly. However, Old Man is certain that we won't be able to kill him even when we run out of energy. The Shao clan's patriarch threw caution to the wind and stopped transmitting his voice. Do you have a good idea? Brother Jean, or should I say, Senior Shao? The divine race's leader said sarcastically. This time, the tyrants were the ones who initiated the alliance of the 9 galaxies against the human race. He had reason to believe Chun Hao's words. Old Man, I won't argue with you now. You can think whatever you want. The most important thing now is to kill this kid. There's only one way, and that is for us to seal him together and refine him bit by bit. Only then can we kill him as soon as possible and not kill him without any effect. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The jade-green silk thread was still spreading. However, the 900 people could sense that the seal that they had formed together was not damaged at all. They all intuitively felt that this silk thread was the key to Chun Hao's collapse and recovery. It should be a phenomenon that appeared when he used this abnormal divine ability. TSK, TSK, as expected of an old fart who has lived for hundreds of millions of years. You found the only way in such a short time. Unfortunately, your ambition to unify the ancient chaos will never be realized. Golden Dragon, I won't let your 10th life die. Therefore, you will never be able to combine your 10 lives. Did I hit a sore spot? Idiots, did you see that? You know that old fart of the Shao clan's 9 lives divine ability, right? That old fart has already broken through the limit and condensed his 10th life. That's the presidential order of the 10 Directions domain, the Golden Dragon. It just so happened that I easily controlled him and turned him into a puppet. I accidentally discovered this shocking secret. Your brains can be empty, but you shouldn't have entered the water. Think about the time when the Golden Dragon was born. Think about the time when I was defeated by that old fart's 10th life, Xiao Yan. Think about it again. That old fart of the Shao clan has already disappeared from our vast universe galaxy. Shut up. Boom. The Shao clan's ancestor was fuming. He didn't want others to kill him, But at this time, he couldn't help but violently attack again. As expected, Chun Hao collapsed again. However, the voice still didn't stop. Angry from embarrassment. It can't stand up to scrutiny at all. If I'm not wrong, you've spent tens of millions of years, or even longer, to set up the 9 galaxies, right? He had been scheming and scheming. Unfortunately, he had been destroyed by a mere golden immortal like me. Ha ha ha. All right, enough nonsense. It's time for me to attack. Oh, I don't mind telling you that your seals aren't the only ones in this space. Chen Hao's handsome face had a strange smile. At this moment, to the 900 foreign race experts, it was like the smile of a demon. Why aren't you joining forces? What are you waiting for? Qi, the Shao clan's ancestor, directly released his divine psyche. Although the subordinates of the tyrants were afraid of a physical battle, they still chose to cooperate immediately. In an instant, their divine psyche connected together, and the terrifying pressure suddenly soared 10 times or even 100 times. We'll cooperate with you for the time being. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately, the leaders of the Protoss, insect race, dark demon race, heavenly fiend race, elf race, succubus race, winged race, and phantom race also released their divine psyche. This was something that couldn't be helped. At this moment, just Chun Hao, the Daluo Golden Wonderland alone, had already brought them a strong sense of uneasiness. Although they hadn't seen the other party's true combat strength, based on his immortal body and the way he talked and laughed casually, as if he didn't take them seriously at all, they could conclude that the other party wasn't stupid, but had strong self-confidence. What a strong pressure, so strong. Prepare to enjoy the first big meal that I, the killing god, have prepared for you. Crack, crack. In the face of the terrifying pressure that came pressing down on him, Chun Hao's body and bones made terrifying cracking sounds in an instant, but his voice was still full of ridicule. As soon as he finished speaking, a spirit suddenly burst out from his glabella. What? This time, everyone present was a little dumbfounded. It wasn't that this spirit was very strong, but that the aura of this spirit was only at the heaven immortal realm. However, it was condensed to the point where it was almost solid and evolved to the point where it was untainted by anything. Although the realm was low, it forcibly penetrated their pressure and the powerful seals that they had condensed previously and directly rushed into the sky. The killing god, Chun Hao, was clearly already the Daluo Jinxian. So how could he release the spirit of a heaven immortal? Moreover, it was obvious that he was triggering the heavenly punishment. At this moment, they thought of the previous report of the killing god, Chun Hao, from the 9 Galaxies Alliance Army. One man, one spear with a heaven immortal girl. The hidden first female lead has been born. A clear, melodious, and pleasant voice came from Chun Hao's glabella, accompanied by a charming smile. What the hell was this? Apart from Yilan, Xuanmei, Si Xian, and Helian Wuzi, who were familiar with the situation, everyone, including Chun Shui and the other members of the Proud Heavens, frowned slightly. They didn't understand what Chun Hao's so-called big meal was, and they didn't understand why he wanted the second female lead the heavenly punishment at this time. Although they also felt that her spirit was very pure, could it pose a threat to the top Hongmeng Supremes, or even the experts with the strength of a cutting Dao true immortal? Focus on triggering it. Don't play tricks. Yes, brother hero, you have to protect me well. Don't worry, from now on, only this killing god can kill dogs. The second dish. Let's begin, roar. As Chun Hao spoke, he suddenly roared. The green threads that had been constantly flowing out from his glabella suddenly trembled, and the slender strands expanded as if they had exploded. Originally, they were like fine black silk dancing in the wind, but now they had transformed into green vines that crazily expanded and spread. They bared their sharp fangs and a terrifying aura that could devour all things in the world. Moreover, they spread out directly from the entire space, covering the sky and covering the earth. It was like a huge bird's nest that was beginning to envelop and spread from outside to inside. 5,000 words, looking for monthly votes and recommendation votes. Chapter 11:26. What? Everyone, including the Shao clan's patriarch who was ranked ninth, revealed a look of shock at this moment. The oppressive confinement that they had jointly condensed was directly torn apart, and they could clearly feel that it was being crazily devoured by the vines that blotted out the sky. That was the suppression seal formed by 900 top Hongmeng Supremes, combined with their strongest Taoist nomological suppression, but it was devoured by killing God Chun Hao. At this moment, everyone was horrified. It was even more frightening than when they saw Chun Hao's undying body. At this moment, although they did not want to admit it, they knew that it was impossible to imprison the killing god, Chun Hao, with their combined pressure. Instead, they had to stop the vines that were rapidly approaching. Kill, 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 kill. Boom, 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 boom. Boundless and terrifying Taoist nomological powers swept through the entire area. The endless vines were destroyed by the Taoist nomological powers of these top experts. At the same time, everyone charged toward Chun Hao. This crazy scene caused the cultivators who were watching through various channels to be so nervous that they held their breaths. Everyone's gaze was focused on the killing god, Chun Hao. The third dish, taste my overlord spear. Chun Hao's mocking voice turned cold. A murderous intent bloomed from between his eyebrows. Endless immortal light, Taoist nomological powers, and endless suppression swept through the area. Buzz. Chun Hao took a step forward, and the entire space seemed to tremble. His figure holding the overlord spear turned into an afterimage, and a dazzling spear light suddenly shot out. Beep, beep, beep. At this time, Chun Shui, Hu Mainyang, Coiling Dragon, and the other members of AO Tian suddenly received a message from Chun Hao. There were only 9 words. Prepare to intercept in an hour. I'll be nearby in about an hour. You guys just need to occupy the 2 northeast positions. I'll take care of the rest. At this time, Si Xian, who was burning her life force and flying in the void at lightning speed, sent a message to the members of AO Tian through the token. You came. My master has dispatched 3,000 Hongmeng elites. Tell him to obey his orders. All right. When Chun Shui, Hu Mainyang, and the others heard Si Xian's words, they all revealed looks of excitement and carried out Si Xian's orders without hesitation. Puff, rumble wong, chi, puff, rumble wong, chi. Amidst the endless pressure and terrifying divine power laws, Chun Hao pushed his power and divine power laws to the extreme. The 3 great immortal scriptures were contained in the spear light. When the Heavenly Emperor scripture was used, it was like a sovereign descending upon the world and controlling space-time. When the Earth Desolation scripture was used, it was like a god of destruction devouring all life. When the Primal Chaos scripture was used, it was like the collapse of the universe, turning everything into nothingness. Under the horrifying speed of the greater teleportation art, every time the god of slaughter Chun Hao struck out with his conqueror spear, a non-humankind cultivator would die or be severely injured. After the attack, regardless of the result, he would definitely be teleported to another place. It was truly unpredictable. Many of the weaker non-human experts felt their hair stand on end. This was because Chun Hao's spear was aimed at the weakest among them. An expert is indeed an expert. It's impossible to kill them. While the non-humankind experts were shocked, Chun Hao, who was filled with killing intent, was also shocked by the reaction and strength of these experts. He was already picking the weakest ones. He originally thought that with the 3 great immortal sutras, which were almost beyond the profundities of the strongest experts in the primordial chaos Great Thousand World, he would be able to smoothly kill some of them. However, when it really came down to it, he was still unable to kill them in one strike. Furthermore, facing the attacks of the divine abilities and laws that covered the sky and earth, especially the attacks of the Shao clan's patriarch and the other 8 experts, even if Chun Hao used the great teleportation technique to the extreme, he still couldn't completely dodge. In less than half a minute, Chun Hao is already covered in blood and wounds. Too strong. Is this the true battle strength of the god of slaughter, Chun Hao. It's too terrifying. Daluo Jinxian. It's just that Daluo Jinxian, under the siege of 900 top experts of the non-human kind, was actually able to kill his opponents. If he were to advance to the Supreme of Hongmeng, how powerful would he be? Ha ha! Kill, kill, kill. Good kill. The god of slaughter Chun Hao has an immortal body. He'll be fine even if his physical body collapses. It's just a little injury. It won't affect him at all. While Chun Hao was lamenting the strength of the enemy, the human cultivators in the Second World were excited by the terrifying strength displayed by Chun Hao. No one was worried about his injuries. They only saw his might and power. However, only Chun Hao himself knew that his physical body definitely could not be destroyed at this moment. Otherwise, the third dish that little nurse Lu Hui, the soul of all living beings, had prepared for the 900 experts of the non-human kind, would be finished. At the same time, little nurse Lu Hui would also be finished. Because at this moment, although Lu Hui was in Chun Hao's mind great world, she was completely connected to the outside world. To put it bluntly, it was as if she was standing on Chun Hao's body. Lu Hui was the soul of all living beings, an immortal existence. However, that referred to her soul origin and not this reincarnated body of this life. Once Lu Hui, who was only in the heaven immortal realm, was destroyed by such a terrifying attack, it meant that she would directly enter the next reincarnation. To Chun Hao, what was the difference between that and death? Kill, kill, kill. Kill with all your might. No matter what, we can't let this kid escape. Those who can't resist his attack, self-destruct. No matter what the effect is, I will give your descendants and your sex the strongest protection. At this time, the true immortals of the 9 galaxies, who were also shocked by Chun Hao's heaven-defying strength, also issued a ruthless order, which was transmitted to the minds of the non-humankind cultivators present through the token. For the rookies among them, especially the first 100 people, this was undoubtedly a death sentence. The Great Path was merciless. At this time, they really felt the cruelty of the Great Path. As the top experts of each galaxy, in the end, they were just chess pieces. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Outside the powerful seal of the forbidden land of heaven and earth, a fierce wind raged. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth rolled in from all directions and gathered at a terrifying speed. As the battle in the seal went on, the vast tribulation cloud also gathered quickly. The experts in the seal couldn't see it, nor did they pay attention to it. However, the members of the proud heavens, who were on standby in all directions, saw a scene that shocked them through the super long-distance surveillance of the battleship. It was different from any divine punishment they had ever seen. Even the divine punishment of golden scales transforming into dragons, which was triggered by Chun Hao and Xiao Yan, was not as shocking as the one triggered by the little nurse, Lu Hui. Usually, when the tribulation cloud was formed, it would be rolling dark clouds, which would cover the sky and the sun, accompanied by thunder and lightning arcs. However, this time, there was no trace of thunder and lightning arcs escaping from the rolling dark clouds. Instead, there were figures gathering. Fiery red, azure blue, green, golden, black, colorful, dazzling, 9-colored halos, wholly milky white. All kinds of figures of different colors gathered together. Every figure lasted for a long time, from hazy to gradually clear. They sat cross-legged, and the divine might was vast and mighty. Just by looking at the eyes of different colors, without feeling the real pressure at close range, everyone on the proud heavens battleship turned pale. They felt a kind of boundless divine might. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the figures looked down. In an instant, the eyes of different colors, like laser beams, pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The seal formed by the 900 experts was directly penetrated. What is this? The cultivators, who were attacking Chun Hao crazily and had no choice but to self-destruct in order to gain a little benefit for their descendants, were all stunned at this time. The eyes of different colors, without any attack, carried the mighty divine might and suppressed the whole area. Almost in an instant, everyone felt as if they were imprisoned. The energy around them was out of their control. The comprehension of the endless Tao laws seemed to be separated from them and could no longer be activated. Everyone's eyes widened in horror. The Shao family patriarch, who was in the ninth anima, was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. Big brother hero. It was also at this time that the young nurse, Lu Hui, who was using all her strength, suddenly showed a trace of disappointment and grievance as she shouted, "Whoa, I can't be the hidden first female lead anymore. What's going on?" Chen Hao had already felt the divine might beyond his imagination. This kind of pressure, even with Chen Hao's state of mind that looked down on heaven and earth, had a feeling of wanting to submit and be unable to resist. Moreover, in an instant, Chen Hao felt that most of his true essence, mind, and divine ability laws were out of his control. This was before the divine punishment descended. What kind of concept would it be if it descended? However, Chen Hao did not panic when this feeling appeared. Instead, he secretly rejoiced because he knew that the young nurse, Lu Hui, had not screwed up. When the divine punishment descended, Chen Hao could guarantee that it would be a feast even for the experts present. He was sure that many of them would explode and die from eating. However, at this time, the young nurse actually said no. Why not? Chen Hao, quickly seal me and cut off my connection with the outside world. Sky River, Sky River, Sky River. Just as the young nurse suddenly panicked and asked Chun how to cut off her connection with the outside world, a cold, emotionless voice that seemed to penetrate the endless Milky Way resounded in the entire space. Sky River? What Sky River? At this time, whether it was the alien experts present, the cultivators watching in the second world, or the upper echelons of the 9 galaxies watching through the tokens, all of them widened their eyes in shock. They were so shocked that they could not speak. Even Yilan and Snowplum Immortal were no exception. However, unlike the others, Yilan, Snowplum, Chun Shui, and the other members of the Proud Heavens, Chun Hao, were no exception. The first thing they thought of was the Sky River sector. Silence. Chun Hao was shocked. Before he could react, the young nurse suddenly spat out 2 words. Immediately, a pitch-black light appeared between Chun Hao's eyebrows and enveloped him completely in an instant. Chun Hao, hurry, seal me. Seal me. I don't want to leave you. I don't want to. Hurry, cheat. Hearing the young nurse's panicked urging again, Chun Hao did not hesitate. Although he still could not figure out what had happened, he knew that the young nurse must have sensed a great danger. He directly put the young nurse into the deepest part of the macro world in his mind and shielded her with endless divine light and Taoist principles. Crash! The moment Chun Hao did all this, the world suddenly stopped. Above the void, figures of different colors, sitting cross-legged, suddenly waved their hands at the same time. In an instant, it was as if the Milky Way from the 9 heavens was pouring down. The Milky Way tunnel. Not good. Boom. Yilan jumped up in fright at the first moment, his face suddenly filled with horror. The Milky Way tunnel. Not good. The masters of the 9 galaxies and the Tao severing true immortals also cried out in horror. Rumble. The seal formed by 900 experts was destroyed the moment the Milky Way tunnel came through. Horrifying screams resounded through the world. Under the awe of the vast heavenly might, all the experts of the foreign races cried out in horror. Each of them tried their best to resist, but they were still sucked into the Milky Way tunnel. Explode. The Shao clan patriarch's eyes were filled with madness and malice. Although he didn't know what was going on and couldn't figure out what was going on, he knew that it had something to do with Chun Hao, the death god. Once he entered the 9th anima, he would be completely crippled. The moment he was sucked in, he didn't hesitate at all. He directly activated himself and detonated. Rumble. He was stronger than the average Tao, severing true immortal. What kind of concept was detonating his physical body and soul? It directly caused the space to collapse and collapse. The experts of the foreign races near him were also uncontrollably destroyed by the terrifying energy. Like a chain reaction, hundreds of figures were instantly annihilated in body and soul. For all the monitoring images, the moment the Milky Way tunnel appeared was the last scene. The transmission of the tokens of the 9 galaxies of the foreign races was directly cut off, and no more information was sent back. The display screen of the Proud Heavens members' warships turned into endless, terrifying explosions. The transmission from Si Xian's token to Yi Lan's master token, and then to Yi Lan's live broadcast to the second world, was also directly cut off. There was no more information. How? Boss. Chun Hao, Chi 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 Chi. The women of Proud Heavens, Coiling Dragon, and the others, as well as Si Xian, who was about to get close, madly rushed toward Chun Hao's location without any hesitation. The stellar tunnel vanished, and so did the tribulation clouds. The godlike figures vanished along with the tunnel and the tribulation clouds. It was as if they had never appeared in the first place. There were no traces of the Milky Way tunnel left. There was no longer any aura of life in this space. The 900 foreign race cultivators had all disappeared, and not even a trace of flesh and blood was left. Similarly, under the detection of the warships and the frantic activation of the tokens, Proud Heavens and the others couldn't sense or contact Chun Hao and Itoda. More than 10,000 years ago, the god of slaughter Chun Hao had collapsed, and the women and brothers and sisters had waited for more than 10,000 years. Today, more than 10,000 years later, the god of slaughter Chun Hao had just returned. Were they going to fall back into waiting again? Moreover, unlike the last time, if it really happened this time, it would be an endless wait, or even there would be no possibility of ever seeing each other again. Everyone was on the verge of collapse. No one noticed, and it was impossible for them to notice, that in the collapsed space there was a small ball of dark light that was only the size of a person. The light of extinction. Pooh! The head of the tyrant Jin family suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood without any warning, and his old face instantly turned pale. Brother Jin, the tyrant ruler, looked at the head of the Jin family and called out, "Dead, all dead. Old man is so angry. Milky Way tunnel. How could there be a Milky Way tunnel?" The head of the Jin family roared furiously, and the aura around him surged wildly as if he wanted to vent. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. At this time, the tyrant ruler also moved. At the same time, dozens of Severance Tao, true immortals, also moved, but nearly half of them went to the side of the head of the Jin family. Brother Jin, do you have anything else to say? What do you mean? Nothing. I've always respected you as an elder brother. As the ruler, I've always sat side by side with you, and any decision was made by you, because I know that even if I take off the title of ruler, my true strength is not as good as yours. You have the qualifications and deserve my respect. Don't be provoked by that kid. Huh? The tyrant ruler stared at the head of the Jin family and revealed a smile that contained endless disappointment. Trying to drive a wedge between us? Brother Jin, in this world, who knows your strength and aura better than me? The expert you sent this time still appeared out of nowhere. If it was just the golden dragon of the Daluo Golden Wonderland, it's not strange that I didn't know, but the Grand Mist Supremacy Realm has strength stronger than ordinary Severance Tao, true immortals, and I still don't know anything about it. It's not that you want to hide this from me, but it never happened before, right? Brother Jin, or should I call you Brother Shao? You can easily mobilize people from the other 8 galaxies and influence the decisions of their rulers. I'm too naive. You're even more naive now. If I were you, even if I already knew, I would pretend that I didn't know and choose to continue being your puppet ruler. Is that so? Brother Jin, you've never been a ruler of any galaxy, so you'll never know how powerful the title of ruler is, right? Do you think that by controlling these people, you can overturn the heavens? Boom, boom, boom. The people beside the tyrant ruler furiously gathered their energy, and their fighting spirits soared crazily. However, what made the tyrant clan overseer's eyes widen and he spat out a mouthful of blood was that the combined pressure and Tao laws of the people standing beside him were not pressing down on the Jin family head, but on him. You, old man indeed, doesn't know the power of the title of ruler, but he knows that you alone can't activate it. You want to fight me? In the ancient chaos vast thousand worlds, other than the strongest ruler of the vast universe galaxy, that old fart Elon, no one has the qualifications. You're too inexperienced. Hand over the ruler's token and end your own life. For the sake of our past relationship, old man will help you take care of your family. 5,000 words, looking for monthly votes and recommendation votes. Thank you. Chapter 11:27. On that day, an earth-shattering battle broke out in the holy temple of the tyrants. Hundreds of millions of miles of the holy city were turned into ruins. Hundreds of millions of creatures were annihilated under the terrifying divine law before they even knew what had happened. The head of the Jin family and hundreds of Tao, severing perfected immortals, who had a reputation that was almost on par with the controllers and the tyrants, searched the entire chaotic galaxy of the tyrants after that day. No one knew what they were looking for. They only knew that in the entire galaxy, countless planets with life and non-life shifted their positions in the starry sky that had remained unchanged since time immemorial. The fate of the dragon veins and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth had changed drastically. Endless blood splattered all over the starry sky, turning into a rain of blood that merged into the starry sky. The world changed. Half a month later, the higher-ups of the tyrants announced to the world that the Jin family master had taken over as the controllers of the tyrants. Other than the top high-level cultivators, no one knew what had happened. They didn't even know where the original controllers had gone. Other than the terrifying phenomenon of the shifting of the stars, the holy temple of the tyrants, which was the only well-preserved one in the holy city, seemed to have become even more dazzling, sacred, and inviolable. However, some masters in the Grand Mist Supremacy realm and some hidden masters from the top sects noticed something. The tyrant's holy temple had lost its inextricable connection with the entire chaotic galaxy. When they thought about how the Jin family master and countless true immortals had turned the entire chaotic galaxy upside down, everyone vaguely guessed a possibility. The original controllers had fallen, but the title of controllers had not been handed over. The controllers' tokens that had been passed down since ancient times had disappeared along with the death of the original controllers. On the same day that the tyrants changed, the Protoss, Bug Clan, Heavenly Fiend Clan, Dark Demon Clan, Goblin Clan, Wing Clan, Elf Clan, and Spirit Clan all broke out in a terrifying battle. When the immortals fought, the mortals suffered, and countless people died. However, the chaos in the 8 galaxies only lasted for half a day before it subsided. In the next few days, a top force in each galaxy was uprooted and became the history of their respective galaxies. Ow! Boss! Killing God! Brother! That very day, Proud Heaven's battleship, Sea Xian, and the other battleships flew as fast as they could toward the location where Chun had fought the 900 outsiders. Chun Shui, Proud Heaven's core generals, the cultivators of his army, Captain Sea Xian, and the 3,000 top experts from the human race all rushed toward the battlefield, calling out to Chun Hao. But where was the god of slaughter Chun Hao's aura? Chun Shui and the other women, as well as Proud Heaven and the other cultivators, cried out for a bit, then went silent. Nobody cried. They just felt numb. It had been more than 10,000 years since they had last seen each other, and yet another change had occurred. To the women and the core generals of Proud Heaven, it was a heavy blow that they simply couldn't accept. Galaxy Tunnel. Why would the Milky Way tunnel appear? Since you appeared, why did you only last for such a short period of time? If they had been a little closer, if the Star River Tunnel had lasted a little longer, perhaps they would have been able to follow in his footsteps and leave together, even if they would have been consigned to eternal damnation in the depths of the chaotic space, wandering the starry sky. But the heavens made fools of them and didn't even give them this chance. Wait, endless wait. Even if a cultivator had a long life, how much wait could they withstand? But what could they do? Buzz, Commander, the cultivators of the God Clan have suddenly retreated. Buzz, Commander, the cultivators of the Insect Clan have also retreated. Ah, the Dark Demon Clan, Heavenly Demon Clan, Goblin Clan, Wing Clan, Elf Clan, and Phantom Clan have all retreated and are arguing with the tyrants. The cultivators of the 8 major galaxies have besieged the tyrants. Commander Si Xian. Si Xian listened to the message from the token and didn't reply as if she hadn't heard it at all. She just quietly glanced at Chen Shui and the other women, as well as Coiling Dragon and the others. Her mood was terrible and chaotic, and she couldn't control it at all. Her mind was filled with images of Proud Heaven and the other cultivators, as well as Chun Hao fighting against 900 foreign race experts, and the galaxy tunnel that had appeared because of Lu Hui, the soul of all things. The galaxy. The voice that seemed to have come from the depths of the endless galaxy, and it didn't contain any human emotions. It carried endless heavenly might, and it still filled Si Xian's mind. Si Xian, later, bring all of them back. He will come back. He will. At this moment, Yilan's voice gently floated into Si Xian's mind through the token. Master, it was caused by the soul of all things, right? Maybe, did the immortal emperor of the ancient era really fall? The galaxy is only the soul of all things, and the heavenly Tao can recognize her. Yilan said, as if he was talking to Si Xian, but also as if he was thinking. In the entire space, except for the floating debris of the collapsed meteorites, there was no longer any breath of life. Everyone stopped shouting and quietly floated in the air, looking at the dazed women and Proud Heaven's core generals. These monstrous geniuses who had dominated the battlefield outside the realm, regardless of whether they were men or women, had empty and lifeless expressions. The 10 legions of Proud Heaven had spent a lot of time with them, but when they saw this, their hearts ached and they silently wept. Of the nearly 200 experts who had come with Si Xian, as well as the 3,000 experts who had come with her, many were Proud Heaven's elders. But at this moment, no one said anything. They didn't know how to comfort Proud Heaven's people. They knew how important God of Slaughter, Chun Hao, was to Proud Heaven's people. For a moment, the entire space was silent. Only the members of Proud Heaven's legions silently looked at their leaders and wept for them. He will definitely go to the great world of CND. We don't need to wait. Suddenly, Chen Shui, who had an empty gaze, abruptly raised her head to look at everyone, and her gaze recovered its clarity as she spoke loudly. That's right. The great world of CND. The great world of CND. Once this battle is over, we will go. Following Chen Shui's words, everyone came back to life one by one. The battle is over. Si Xian suddenly said softly, staring at everyone. Whoosh! Everyone present immediately turned to look at Si Xian. I just received news that the 8 galaxies have retreated and are besieging the tyrants. He revealed the identity of the Shao family's patriarch. It worked, right? If we want to go to the great world of CND, we can go back and say goodbye before we set off, Everyone was slightly stunned and looked at Si Xian in unison. We can't. He took away my... Si Xian didn't finish her sentence and suddenly shut up. There were too many people present, and other than Proud Heaven's people, no one knew about her third life. Although it wasn't a big deal to reveal it now, she still didn't want too many people to know. However, because she didn't finish her sentence, more than 3,000 experts and 100,000 cultivators from the 10 major legions stared at her in surprise. It wasn't just the 100,000 cultivators from Proud Heaven's 10 legions who sensed it. Even the 3,000 top experts sensed it. This was an immortal legend that had existed for tens of millions of years in the vast universe galaxy. Guess what he took away from teacher Si Xian? Are you a pig? It's obviously her heart. Many people in the crowd communicated telepathically, especially after seeing Si Xian's face turn redder and redder. They were even more certain that their guess was correct. However, thinking about it, it seemed that the only person in the world who was worthy of Si Xian's immortal legend was killing God Chun Hao. Although the age gap was huge, who would care about age as a cultivator? What mattered was talent, potential, character, and a little bit of fate. Boom! Boom, 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 boom. Suddenly, a terrifying pressure and a vast and majestic killing intent burst out from the meteorite fragment floating not far away from the crowd. Ah, ah. At this moment, everyone looked in the direction of the terrifying fluctuations, and countless people instantly gathered their energy. But immediately, it was drowned out by a series of exclamations. The moment the light of nirvana dissipated, Chunhao didn't know what was going on outside, so he directly released his strongest aura and prepared to fight crazily. But to his surprise, all he saw were human cultivators, and Chun Shui and the others were not far away. When everyone saw him, they immediately cried out in surprise. Chi 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 chi. Immediately, Proud Heaven and the others pushed their speed to the limit and rushed toward Chunhao. Whoa! At this moment, a crystal light suddenly flashed between Chunhao's eyebrows, and Ito Taichi rushed out and howled like a wolf. Where are they? Where are they? Don't tell me they were all killed by you. They were all killed? Or did they escape? Chunhao also looked at the crowd rushing over and felt the powerful aura of more than 3,000 people, and said in surprise. Previously, before the galaxy tunnel appeared, Chunhao was suddenly enveloped by the light of nirvana emitted by the little nurse, Lu Hui. After that, he hid the little nurse in the depths of his mind. Chunhao was completely unaware of the galaxy tunnel's appearance. The foreign race experts were swallowed by the galaxy tunnel, and the Shao clan's patriarch's ninth life self-detonation. Later, in the space of nirvana, he finally got an answer from the little nurse, and that was that Tianwei didn't want to destroy her, but to teleport her out of the ancient chaos Great Thousand World. Therefore, Chunhao didn't think that Tianwei would go against the Shao clan's patriarch and the others. The moment the light of nirvana dissipated, he thought that it would be the start of the real battle. Moreover, he had lost the third dish, so he would have to fight a difficult battle and even have to escape. Do you only know how to scare people? All the girls stopped, but when there were so many people, Chun Shui, who had always been reserved, directly threw herself into Chunhao's arms and pounded Chunhao's chest. Her eyes were filled with tears as she spoke coquettishly. Little Shui, what's going on? Can't you see that I'm already immortal? Just now, there was a problem with little Huey's heavenly punishment, so I hid. Chunhao grabbed Chun Shui's hand and said a little awkwardly. Looking at everyone's expression, it seemed that he had really scared them. Hiding. Then we're all here. Why didn't you come out? That kind of concealment is a concealment that blocks everything. Even I can only come out after the divine abilities law ends. You can't sense me, and I can't sense you. Everything will be blocked. Chunhao explained. He didn't want to expose Lu Hui's light of nirvana and her identity in front of so many people. What happened? Ito Ta asked in surprise. The 18 experts who came out with Ito Ta also went to a few acquaintances and asked. Immediately, through everyone's conversation, Chunhao, Ito Ta, and the others finally understood what happened, and they all widened their eyes in shock. Galaxy Tunnel. No wonder little Hui was so scared. Chunhao said in his heart, then looked at everyone and said, so, the Shao family's ancestors self-destructed, and the others were swallowed by the Galaxy Tunnel? Heavenly Tao's might. Even the Galaxy Tunnel was condensed. The war is already over. It should be because you exposed the Shao family's ancestors' identity that the other galaxies changed their minds. Xixin looked at Chunhao and said, oh, I really didn't expect. It turned out like this. A strong start but a weak finish? Boring. What made everyone speechless was that Chunhao actually said such a sentence. But it's also good. It's not a good thing to cause misery and suffering. To conquer, it's best to have absolute power to suppress. Otherwise, even if we win, among us. Chunhao looked at the army of more than 100,000 people and continued, I don't know how many people will die. Oh, Ito Ta, I'll return your people to you. Chi. After Chunhao finished speaking, the space between his eyebrows opened, and Ito Ta's big but army of beauties suddenly swarmed out. By now, it was no longer a secret that he had a mind world in the Daluo Golden Wonderland. No one present didn't know. Therefore, Chunhao didn't have to worry about anything. Brother, Let me into your mind world. Chunyin suddenly pouted and said, "What are you going to do in there? I won't come out of your mind world in the future." Little Yin, that's impossible. How many Supremes are there in Hongming? Look at whose mind world would allow a cultivator to reside in it permanently. It's not a problem in the short term, but for a cultivator to really improve, they still have to rely on the greater world. The mind world is like a spiritual object of heaven and earth. If you use it too much, it won't be of any use. Instead, it will restrict your improvement. Xian explained. This kid, all right, Xuanmei, you can rest assured, in the vast universe divine temple of the human race, Yilan received the news from Xian that Chunhao was not swallowed by the galaxy tunnel. It was inevitable that he was excited. Xuanmei, perfected immortal, who was extremely upset, was also relieved. We still have to appease the billions of human cultivators. Oh, and this kid's lovers and brothers and sisters. After thinking about it, Yilan did not make any changes in the end. He selectively broadcasted the appearance of the galaxy tunnel, how the alien race experts were swallowed, how they self-destructed, and how Chunhao appeared among the crowd. In the end, he revealed that killing god Chunhao had exposed the Shao clan's patriarch's plot, asked the 8 major galaxies to retreat, and surrounded the tyrants. He announced the end of the war, and the human race had won a great victory. On this day, in the second world of the human race's vast universe divine temple, it was a day of crazy celebration. Countless people got drunk, and countless people did exciting things in their excitement. In just one day, countless innocent young men and women disappeared from this world. It was unknown how many girls had the image of the killing god Chunhao or one of the proud heaven battle generals on their first night. Of course, there were even more despicable thoughts that could not be said. Otherwise, who would be anxious if killing god Chunhao was not? The human heart was limitless, and naturally, there was no limit to despicable people. When the forest was big, there were all kinds of birds. Many people who looked normal on the surface were evil on the inside. As for whether they would regret losing their primordialine body in the future, no one knew. Similarly, it was also on this day that the tyrants changed. War broke out in the other 8 major galaxies, and the world was filled with bloodshed. Other than Yilan, no one realized that the vast thousand ancient chaos world had undergone a subtle change after the war and the change in the tyrants. However, it still needed some time to complete the transformation. This was not beyond Yilan's expectations, but it was also not in the trajectory that Yilan had expected. However, the final direction was the same. Killing god Chunhao was not swallowed? What? Is the news confirmed? Impossible. Swallowed by the galaxy tunnel. The arrival of the supreme heavenly power. How can he be fine in the core of the galaxy? Not long after, the news of killing god Chunhao returning to the vast universe divine temple and bringing the girls and the core proud heaven warriors to the Wuji star spread through various channels to the 9 major galaxies. At that time, the tyrant's controller, or rather, the Shao family's patriarch, who had not received the inheritance, was not in the mood to pay attention to the news. He was wholeheartedly searching for the controller's token that the original controller had sacrificed. Without this token, he would not be able to obtain the true power of the controller. Similarly, he could only be the controller of the situation. As for the controllers of the other 8 major galaxies, they fell into an internal struggle because of the news of killing god Chunhao. Killing god Chunhao's strength was far beyond their expectations. There were too many secrets in his body. It was impossible to estimate what kind of existence such a person would be if he stepped into the supreme of Hongming. At the same time, the war launched by the 9 major galaxies made them realize the strength of proud heaven, the strength of the human race, and the terror of Yilan. However, this internal struggle did not last long. Only 1 month later, after the various controllers had comprehended the general trend of the vast thousand ancient chaos world through their respective controllers' supernatural powers. One by one, they took the initiative to send messages to Yilan. Of course, except for the tyrants. Compensation? What compensation? It has nothing to do with me, right? I say. Teacher Xian, Don't you think it's a little inappropriate for your divine sense to intrude? Wuji Star, the headquarters of the Proud Heaven Association. As the president, Chun Hao, who had never been here before, was in the deepest, most luxurious, and largest bedroom of the president's palace. It had been built for more than 10,000 years, and no one had ever lived in it. Just as he was about to undo the robe of a mature woman, he was suddenly interrupted by Si Xian's divine sense transmission. 5,000 words, requesting monthly votes, requesting recommendation votes. Please, everyone, thank you. Chapter 1128. Did I disturb you? I'm just connecting with your divine will. I didn't see anything, Si Xian said. More than 10,000 years later, because of Chun Hao and the Proud Heavens Association, great changes had taken place. Xiao Feng, Si Xian's third life, was still the master of the Infinity Star. When Yilan arranged for him to enter the Ten-Direction territory, he temporarily handed over the control of the Infinity Star to Si Xian. The headquarters of the Proud Heavens Association was located on the Infinity Star. As the master, Si Xian could enter at any time with her divine will. Chun Hao's palace was no exception. No need to explain. What does their compensation have to do with me? Chun Hao asked directly. Yes. Other than the tyrants and the dark demon race, the other 7 galaxies have all given us a very considerable amount of compensation. However, they also put forward a condition. What condition? Give them back their commanders who entered the Ten-Direction territory. Senior Yilan agreed. Chun Hao frowned. Master hasn't admitted that you captured them yet. Why would he agree? Master said that it's up to you to decide. The condition for releasing the 7 is that each galaxy will give you 100 young women from the Grand Mist Supremacy realm as soul slaves. No, just say they're all dead, Chun Hao said without thinking. Don't you want to think about it? This is the information about the women they chose. You can take a look at it first, Si Xian said. As she spoke, a wisp of divine will with the light of memory merged into Chun Hao's mind. No need. Chi. Chun Hao directly shattered the light of memory transmitted by Si Xian and said, I'm not a casual person. I didn't say you're a casual person. Master said it should be useful to you. With your constitution, you might gain a lot through the fusion of their bloodlines. No need. There are things to do and things not to do. I'm not interested no matter how much I gain. Just do as I say. Master Si Xian, is there anything else? No. Si Xian retracted her divine will. In the palace, Xiao Mei's face was flushed red. She was extremely nervous. The human race won, and the god of slaughter Chun Hao returned triumphantly, bringing with him supreme glory. His reputation reached an unprecedented peak, and he became the object of worship of all human cultivators. Meeting again, Xiao Mei felt uneasy. Even though Chun Hao had taken the initiative to untie the knot in her heart more than 10,000 years ago, Xiao Mei still felt that the gap between them was too big. It was so big that she felt ashamed of her own inferiority. Not to mention Chun Hao, even Chun Shui and the other girls made her feel great pressure. Could she really fit into his circle? What moved Xiao Mei the most was that Chun Hao wasn't any different from how he had been 10,000 years ago. What was even more surprising was that Chun Hao, who had just returned, had reunited with his old friends on the Limitless Star for half a year. Then, he had sent everyone from Proud Heaven away, including the women. And at this time, she naturally knew what Chun Hao wanted to do. At the same time, she also knew that this was because her cultivation was the lowest among all the women, and her talent was the worst. It's fine. Sister Mei, wait a moment. I'll set up a few restrictions so that we won't be disturbed. Oh, chi. Chun Hao's forehead suddenly blossomed with resplendent light. His hands pointed, and in an instant, runes that Xiao Mei couldn't comprehend condensed around the room. Then, Chun Hao embraced Xiao Mei again. Okay, Sister Mei, I've been waiting for this for more than 10,000 years. When you were my personal instructor, Chun Hao gazed at Xiao Mei, who had already been teased to the point of fire, and once again pressed his vulgar claws between Xiao Mei's plump buttocks and slender waist. You only know how to talk nonsense. I'll do it myself. Seeing Chun Hao reach for her clothes again, Xiao Mei became nervous again. In the end, she couldn't help but push Chun Hao away. She jumped onto the bed and covered herself with a quilt as she spoke. At the same time, Xiao Mei's mind moved, and she took off her Taoist robe. She hid under the quilt and began to take off her underwear. Just as Xiao Mei took off her blanket, Chun Hao, who seemed to have become impatient, immediately pulled the blanket away. Xiao Mei's beautiful body appeared in front of Chun Hao amidst her screams. Then, Chun Hao directly pounced on her naked body. For the first time, you'll only be my woman. Tomorrow, we'll start dual cultivation again. Chun Hao kissed Xiao Mei's ear and said softly. Xiao Mei, who was already mature, tightly hugged Chun Hao. Nervousness, excitement, anticipation, happiness, all kinds of emotions mixed together, and she fell into a daze. Chun Hao was equally excited and excited. This was the first woman in his life who made him fantasize. Although at the beginning, it was basically pure lust and fantasy, the passionate entanglement and boundless passion made the entire room fall into a spring scene. President's preaching, are we really qualified to participate? Really? As long as you're an official member of Proud Heavens and are at the peak of the late-stage Heavenly Immortal stage or the peak of the late-stage Daluo Golden Wonderland, you're qualified to participate. Those who are not official members of Proud Heavens are only at the peak of the late-stage Grand Mist Supremacy realm. That's great. I can finally see the president in person. Have you received the news that Killing God Chun Hao is going to preach publicly? Yes. I'm already on my way there. No way? That's too much. You're leaving without saying anything? You're not qualified to participate. What's the point of telling you? I'm about to reach the peak of the late-stage Hongming. I'm just a little bit away. Aren't you very close to the MO family head? Ask him to make an exception for me and give me a divine item. Killing God, Chun Hao's preaching is the Sanskrit of the great Tao. It'll be a pity to miss it. Brother, I've already tried. If I could make an exception, I would have. There's no other way. You'll definitely have another chance in the future. Killing God, Chun Hao won't leave for at least 10,000 years. It's said that he'll preach once every 1,000 years for 10 years. Only those at the peak of the late-stage Heavenly Immortal stage, the peak of the late-stage Daluo Golden Wonderland, and the peak of the late-stage Supreme Hongmeng can participate. Those who are not at the peak of the late-stage Heavenly Immortal stage can't participate. His preaching is to give us an epiphany. It's only effective when you're at the peak. Even if you can improve, it'll affect your future potential. Damn it, just a little bit. Forget it, I'll continue to work hard. In the blink of an eye, 500 years had passed. Killing God, Chun Hao had been elusive ever since his return. Countless important people who wanted to meet him did not have the chance to meet him. Under the management of Du Jing, Lan Feng, and the others, the Proud Heavens Association had grown unprecedentedly strong. The youngsters, among the more than 100,000 Hongmeng Supreme experts who had followed the Proud Heavens General to fight against the Nine Galaxies Alliance, had all become members of the Proud Heavens Association. Other than those who held positions in the vast universe galaxy, the experts of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm would not appear in the vast universe galaxy. They were either in seclusion in their own grotto heavens or in the extraterrestrial battlefields to seek opportunities. Otherwise, they were cultivating as mortals. After hundreds of millions of years of accumulation, the number of supreme Hongmeng cultivators that the cultivation world had seen was less than 1 in 10,000. But now, because of the news that Killing God Chun Hao was going to preach publicly, countless supreme Hongmeng cultivators were mobilized. Everyone knew that Killing God Chun Hao was now only Daluo Jingxian. But cultivation realm was no longer a factor that restricted Chun Hao. After the battle in the extraterrestrial battlefields, Killing God Chun Hao's strength was now vaguely second only to controller Yi Lan and individual Dao, severing perfected immortals in the vast universe galaxy. In the Grand Mist Supremacy realm, even the immortal legend Si Xian could not compare to him. Who would want to hear such a heaven-defying existence preach publicly? Daluo Jingxian is at the peak of the late stage and still so strong. On the Wuji planet, in the Palace of the Proud Heavens Association, when Chen Shui, Helian Wuzi, and the other women returned from their training and saw Xiao Mei, they were all shocked. 500 years. In just 500 years, Xiao Mei had improved so much. Even though the women and the members of the Proud Heavens knew what Chen Hao and Xiao Mei were going to do and guessed that Xiao Mei would improve tremendously, they were still shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. In just 500 years, Xiao Mei had advanced from the sky immortal realm to the peak of the late-stage Daluo Jingxian. Her aura was so strong that it was not much weaker than theirs. This was a little too exaggerated. Brother Hao, how did you do it? It's only been 500 years, and Xiao Mei has improved so much. Long Ting grabbed Xiao Mei's hand and looked left and right in surprise. It's been 5,000 years. Xiao Mei whispered, her face slightly red. At this moment, Xiao Mei had become even more charming after interacting with Chen Hao. Coupled with the improvement of her cultivation realm, her temperament had become even more alluring. Chen Xiaoqing stood cautiously behind the girls. She looked at Xiao Mei with envy in her eyes. After Chen Hao returned, she officially appeared among the women. She followed Chen Shui and the others to train. Chen Xiaoqing's talent was extremely high, and her willpower was also very strong. After returning, Chen Hao did not deliberately improve her. 5,000 years? The law of space? Chen Shui said in surprise. That's right. Unfortunately, I can only condense the law of space by 10 times. Perhaps after advancing to the Grand Miss Supremacy realm, I'll have a big breakthrough. How about it? Are you envious? It's better to act than to be envious. Which one do you want to go? TSK, won't this kind of improvement affect the future? Chen Shui rolled her eyes at Chen Hao. It'll definitely affect it, but we won't be Dao companions for a while. I have plenty of time, don't I? This time, Huan, Lele, Xiaoqing, all of you stay. Sister Mei, you and little Shui will train for 500 years. Okay. Huan and Lele immediately hugged Chen Hao for both sides and said happily. The two of them had already become Chen Hao's women. They had tasted it before. Although they had been intimate after returning, it had been 500 years. How could they not miss it? Most importantly, their potential was almost exhausted. If they did not merge their yin and yang with Chen Hao, it would be very difficult to improve their strength. Yes, master. Chen Xiaoqing's face was slightly red as she lowered her head and said softly, How, in the past 500 years, we've been to almost all the danger zones in the vast universe galaxy. Unfortunately, they were not challenging at all. Helian Wuzi said, Those legendary danger zones are so weak. Chen Hao was slightly surprised. Some of them can only be entered in the Grand Miss Supremacy realm. It has nothing to do with strength. Maybe there are stronger places there, but our realm is not enough to enter. Before returning, we discussed it. Pan Long, Du Jing, and the others have the same idea as us. We decided to let Senior Yilan send us to the ancient Chaos Void Realm to try. Helian Wuzi continued. The ancient Chaos Void Realm. Chen Hao was slightly startled. Before the battle with Xiao Yin more than 10,000 years ago, the Xiao family head was sent to the ancient Chaos Void Realm by Chen Wulian. This was the #1 danger zone in the vast universe galaxy. To be precise, it was the #1 danger zone in the ancient Chaos Boundless universe. Chen Shui and the others were only Daluo Jingxian now. Even if they were Hongmeng Supremes or Dao-cutting perfected immortals, once sent to the ancient Chaos Void Realm, it was almost a death sentence. Of course, if they entered a train, the situation would naturally be better. First, only the masters of the 10 galaxies could open the ancient Chaos Void Realm. They could control the location of the cultivators sent to the ancient Chaos Void Realm. Second, the master could summon them at any time through the master's token. The only problem was that after entering, there was no way to contact the outside world. The master could not detect the situation inside. They could only set a time before entering and summon the master when the time limit was up. If something happened during this period, there was no other way. Have you told Senior Yilan? Chen Hao asked. Yes, we have. Senior Yilan is not very assured. He means to let teacher Si Xian and a few Dao-cutting perfected immortals go in with us. During this period, besides the tyrants, there should be many top experts from the other 8 galaxies entering. Oh, the tyrants are now under the control of the Shao family's patriarch, but Senior Yilan said that the Shao family's patriarch only controls the tyrant's galaxy. When a master collapsed, he sent the master's token somewhere, and the Shao family's patriarch did not get it. According to Senior Yilan's guess, the most likely possibility is that he sent it to the ancient Chaos Void Realm. This should be the main reason why the expert from the other galaxies are entering, Chen Shui said. Forget it. After I finish teaching, I will go in with you. The ancient Chaos Void Realm is the most dangerous place in the vast thousand worlds. Only the Master's token can open it. It may contain the secrets of the ancient times of the vast thousand worlds. Chen Hao said in a low voice after hesitating for a moment. The tyrant's master's token might have been lost in the depths of the ancient Chaos Void Realm. If he could get it, as long as his strength increased, he could enter the tyrant's galaxy and challenge the Shao family's patriarch. This was nothing to Chen Hao, but it was undoubtedly what Yilan needed the most. This was one of the reasons. Secondly, the rulers of the other 8 galaxies must have thought of this possibility as well. In that case, the experts sent to enter the ancient Chaos Desolation region would definitely be top-notch experts. Moreover, they would definitely be Dao, severing true immortals, and top-notch Grand Supremes. If Chen Shui and the others entered, Chen Hao wouldn't feel at ease. Thirdly, Chen Hao is also interested in the most dangerous place in the vast thousand worlds. This might be the only place in the vast thousand worlds that could train him. This time, Chen Hao stayed behind to increase the strength of all his girls and brothers to the limit in preparation for entering the great world of CND. There was no doubt that he, who was supposed to walk the great path alone, would delay his own cultivation progress if he did so. If the ancient Chaos Void Realm was useful to him, it would undoubtedly be a good thing. At least he could improve himself while improving everyone else's strength. I knew you would go. Suddenly, an old voice drifted over, directly penetrating Chen Hao's palace and entering everyone's ears. Senior Yilan. Yes. Yilan, Shui Mei perfected immortal, and Si Xian immediately appeared in front of Chen Hao and the others. Senior Yilan, Mother, Teacher Si Xian, why are all of you here? Chen Hao was slightly surprised. How can we not come when the god of massacre, Chen Hao, is teaching? Si Xian stared at Chen Hao. 10 years is too short. Yilan smiled faintly. Are you serious? Senior Yilan, I only promised you 10 years. With so many people participating, 10 years is my limit. Who knows how much supreme-grade spirit spring I'll have to waste. Don't even think about extending it any further, not even with the laws of space and time. Don't be so stingy. With the exception of Proud Heaven, anyone who comes to participate will have to pay an exorbitant price of spirit items, of heaven and earth as compensation. The Alliance is already doing that. I guarantee that you'll only profit and not lose anything. Besides, I'll only use the laws of space and time to extend the time. Most importantly, your mother, Si Xian, and I all want to listen for a while longer. Aren't you embarrassed to refuse? It's useless even if you and Mother listen. Chen Hao frowned. Who says it's useless? After Dao severing, you won't be able to cultivate any great path techniques, but you'll be able to learn from them and comprehend your own Dao. It's also a kind of improvement. Yilan said, Dao severing, Dao severing. Once one became a true immortal after Dao severing, they would only have their own Dao. Before that, all the divine abilities and supreme techniques that they had cultivated would be integrated into one, and their every move would be compatible with their own great path. Any kind of Dao law would also have a distinct personal characteristic. It was basically impossible to cultivate any other great path techniques. The only thing they could do was to integrate the mysteries into their own Dao through comprehension. However, this was harder than ascending to the heavens. At most, they would have to integrate a little bit of concept. This was especially true for true great path techniques. This was also the reason why Yilan could only comprehend the Shao clan patriarch's 9 lives' profundity and could not condense the second life himself. In fact, it was much more difficult for even Hongmeng Supreme. Otherwise, the sacred land of immortal scriptures in the chaotic, boundless world would not be limited to the Daluo Golden Wonderland. Tianzi, Mother will leave first after listening to your preaching. Leave? Mother, are you going to... Yes. You're all back. Mother is relieved. Mother, can you find Father and Master? Wait for us and go together? That won't do. Mother can't affect you young people. Don't worry. It's not difficult for Mother to find them. Sister and I are telepathic. Even if we can't find them, Brother Yi has promised your father 100,000 years. When the time comes, Mother will naturally go, Shuemei said. Chun Hao looked at his mother and knew that it was useless to say anything more. A day later, in the huge martial arts arena of the Wuji Star-Proud Heavens Association, there was already a sea of people early in the morning. 5,000 words. The annual meeting had ended, but Wushan was really troubled. They should have reached home last night, but Kunming, which had not snowed for a few years, actually had a heavy snowfall. Kunming Airport was closed, and all flights were canceled. They were tragically stranded in Guangzhou. They checked online and found that Kunming Airport had been restored last night. There shouldn't be any problems with today's flights. Hope they can reach home smoothly. Hope for monthly tickets and recommendation tickets to comfort them. Chapter 1129. Countless celestial immortals and Daluo Jinxian members of Ao Tian occupied half of the arena. There were even millions of cultivators floating in the void. The other half was separated from Ao Tian's camp. They were cultivators at the peak of the late stage of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. There were tens of millions of them. Most of them were old guys. There were only a few who looked young. Pan Long, Du Jing, Lan Feng, Edo Tai, Chun Nan, Liang, Chun Ling, and the others were also in front of Ao Tian's team. Pan Donglu, Pan Dongsheng, Huyan Albua, First King, Buttface, Lil Ling Yang Fan, Li Yifeng, and the other core members of Ao Tian had also arrived early. They gathered at the front, where ordinary people were not qualified to be. They were waiting for Chun Hao, the god of slaughter, to begin his preaching. This was a grand occasion that had never been seen before in the vast universe galaxy. Even the strongest controller, Yilan, had limited his preaching to a small area before entering the nirvana state of true self. Chun Wuyang and the masters of the previous controllers were the same. None of them could control such a large number of cultivators. Even Yilan could not, let alone others. However, Chun Hao the Daluo Golden Wonderland could do it. The Dao Manifestation Immortal Fruit Tree, the Tree of Life, the Mind World, and the Spirit Spring Sea were all heaven-defying existences. In particular, the Dao Manifestation Immortal Fruit Tree and the Tree of Life had been condensed into the third and fourth animus by Chun Hao and merged with his original body. With a single thought, his divine thought would spread out like tentacles. The coverage area was so large that ordinary true immortals of the Dao, severing realm, could not compare to it. The endless spirit spring sea could continuously supply the outside world, allowing the surrounding cultivators to obtain sufficient spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Without the support of the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, they would not jump out of the Great Path Sanskrit chant. This was the main reason why ordinary masters were stumped. Even Yilan could not provide spiritual chi of heaven and earth for such a large number of cultivators. Chun Hao, the god of slaughter, seeing that it was getting closer and closer to the start of the preaching, the crowd became more and more excited. One of the figures was so excited that his body was trembling. His face, which could be considered handsome, was suffused with a red glow of excitement. His eyes were fixed on the high platform in the middle of the training field, and even his breathing became rapid. Brother Shiman, are you all right? I'm fine. Brother Shiman, I heard that you had some connection with killing God Chen Hao in the past. I wonder if it is true? No, don't talk nonsense. Brother Chun and I are only acquaintances. I'm afraid he's already forgotten about me. The nervous young man said hurriedly. This person was none other than Shimin Feng, a direct descendant of the Shimin family, one of the 5 great families of the Asianing planet. The perverted gay man, who was originally an enemy but was attracted by Chun Hao's peerless demeanor, extended a helping hand to Chun Hao several times. Unfortunately, he never helped Chun Hao. Instead, he disgusted Chun Hao to death. Today, more than 10,000 years later, Shimin Feng was not even qualified to see Chun Hao's true love. He could only silently pay attention to all the news about killing god Chun Hao. After the battle between Chun Hao and Xiao Yin was destroyed, he did not hesitate to do everything he could to join the Proud Heavens Association and become one of the most devout believers in prayers. However, he could only bury this perverted true love deep in his heart and did not dare to show it to anyone. Otherwise, even if Chun Hao did not know and did not touch him, the people of Proud Heavens would kill him. He was the god in the hearts of the members of Proud Heavens. Who dared to insult him? Buzz. He's here. What a terrifying pressure. Just as everyone was discussing and waiting for the arrival of Chun Hao, the god of slaughter, a crack suddenly appeared in the void like a piece of cloth that had been torn apart. Along with the crack was an endless pressure and dazzling celestial light that directly enveloped the heavens and the earth and poured down. At this moment, everyone looked up at the void with shock, excitement, and excitement. How can he be so strong? This aura, some of the Hongmeng Supremes who had seen Chun Hao go crazy in the extraterritorial battlefield frowned in confusion. The endless immortal light and pressure were completely beyond their understanding. Moreover, the aura contained in it was clearly stronger than that of the Hongmeng Supremes and even the average Dao severing perfected immortal. It's a rare opportunity for killing God Chun Hao to preach. All the experts of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm, listen up, work together with the old man to form the space-time laws that envelop the entire training field. Greetings, Overlord. Greetings, Overlord. Upon hearing Yilan's voice, some of the Hongmeng Supremes came to their senses and immediately bowed. Make your move. Yes. Buzz. Chi. The endless immortal light that poured down suddenly shook. Countless Hongmeng Supremes activated the mysteries of space-time and merged with Yilan's immortal light. The most powerful overlord is here. Heavens, do all the overlords have to listen to killing God Chun Hao's preaching? Shui Mei perfected immortal. Killing God Chun Hao's mother. Dao severing perfected immortal. And Teacher Si Xian. One by one, legendary figures emerged from the endless immortal light and appeared before everyone's eyes. The old guys of the Hongmeng Supremes were still all right, but the heavenly immortals of the Proud Heavens Association and the cultivators of the Daoyuo Golden Wonderland all widened their eyes in excitement. They were extremely shocked. Although they knew that their president was extremely powerful and that his combat strength had surpassed that of the Hongmeng Supremes, they were still extremely shocked when they saw Overlord Yilan and some Dao-severing perfected immortals arrive. This also gave them a clearer understanding of killing God Chun Hao's strength. With such a large area, Overlord Yilan and the power of countless Hongmeng Supremes should be able to form at least 10 times the space-time laws, right? Countless cultivators became excited. 10 years of Chun Hao's preaching was a rare opportunity for everyone present. If they could form the space-time laws, it would be at least 100 years or even longer. This was undoubtedly something to be excited about. In the palace, sealed by layers of restrictions, Chun Hao stood up naked and looked at Xiao Mei, who had been completely transformed and improved over the past 500 years. Chun Hao smiled proudly, his eyes revealing his satisfaction and desire for more. Her snow-white body, towering twin peaks, and especially her round buttocks made Chun Hao's heart itch. It had to be said that the first time Chun Hao felt a desire for Xiao Mei, who had long matured, was her round and perky buttocks. This was something that Chun Shui and the other girls, who looked a little immature due to their rapid cultivation progress, did not have. And now, after 500 years of nourishment, Xiao Mei, who was already very charming, indeed made Chun Hao crave for more. Every time he did it, he would feel excited. Junior brother, you bullied me. You hurt Senior's sister. Can you recover your cultivation? No. This is the best time to raise one's state of mind. The great Tao is the most simple, and one should return to one's original state. We haven't turned into mortals, but we can temporarily seal our energy and use the power of mortals to do things. This is a different approach that achieves the same result. But today after today, I will no longer belong to you, Sister May. Moreover, you will have to cultivate and comprehend for a period of time. All right, you can go in as well. Later, stay in my mind's great world. I will link my divine sense. And, Chi, a bright light flashed between Chun Hao's brows, pulling Xiao Mei, who was as smooth as a little lamb, into a separate world in the great world of his mind. Senior Yilan, you don't have to be so ruthless, right? No one knew that Chun Hao used the entire day to connect with the women. Chun Shui and the others naturally only lit the fire. However, Tan Tai Lian, Lung Minghuan, Chun Xiaoqing, and Xiao Mei did not hold back and allowed Chun Hao to enjoy the blessings of having multiple partners. However, as soon as Chun Hao stepped into his palace, he was rendered speechless by Yilan's actions. Combining all the experts of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm to condense the space-time laws, this was too ruthless. No matter how long it takes, the real time is only 10 years, isn't it? Don't worry, old man will compensate you with enough spiritual items to make up for your losses. With the help of these Hong Meng Supremes, divine senses, and profundities, I can condense the space-time laws 80 times at most. 10 years is 800 years at most. Kid, don't be lazy. The future of the vast universe galaxy and even the entire primordial chaos world may belong to you, Yilan said directly after receiving Chun Hao's divine sense transmission. I'm not interested. This has nothing to do with whether you're interested or not. Just like the Proud Heaven Association now, what are you interested in? When I'm done condensing the space-time laws, you can take the stage. All right, Chun Hao responded speechlessly. After experiencing the battles in the 10 Directions territory and the extraterritorial battlefield, as a member of the human race, Chun Hao could not have no feelings for the vast universe galaxy. Otherwise, he would not have agreed to Yilan's request to preach once every 1,000 years for 10 years. This wasn't a difficult task for him. It was nothing more than reciting the primary outline of the Great Path and integrating his own understanding of the Great Path's lost mysteries into it, allowing the human cultivators to enter a state of enlightenment. Chun Hao knew very well how effective this was. It would not take too long, only a few thousand years. After Chun Hao preached a few times, the number of Hong Meng Supremes in the vast universe galaxy would increase, and the peak late-stage experts of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm would become more and more powerful. There would certainly be a new breakthrough in the number of true immortals who had stepped into the cutting path. This was the magical effect of the primary outline of the Great Path. Chi. Greetings, President. Greetings, President. Chun Hao, the killing god. Chun Hao, the killing god. The moment the space-time laws were condensed, Chun Hao cut through the void and slowly landed on the high platform of the dojo. Countless members of the Proud Heaven Association knelt down in unison. The peak late-stage experts of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm, who were not members of the Proud Heaven Association, also excitedly shouted for Chun Hao, the killing god. At this moment, tens of millions of eyes were focused on Chun Hao, the killing god. The old guys of the Grand Mist Supremacy realm were fine, and they only shouted twice before stopping. However, the young cultivators of the Celestial Immortal Realm and the Daluo Golden Wonderland went completely crazy at this time. Both men and women were extremely excited, and they could not wait to rush directly to Chun Hao, the killing god. Chapter 1131. Facing the frenzied and restless crowd, Chun Hao slowly scanned his surroundings. He did not say anything, did nothing, and even his expression did not change in the slightest. He sat down cross-legged, and his eyes that were as bright as stars slowly closed. His lips slightly opened, and he began to recite the primary outline of the great Tao. At first, his voice was like a mosquito, completely drowned out by the frenzied shouts of the crowd. But as Chun Hao's lips opened and closed, small lotus flowers floated out. At the same time, Chun Hao's body slowly grew larger. His voice was still very soft, but it easily penetrated the shouts of all the cultivators and clearly entered everyone's mind. The lotus flowers that bloomed from his lips also grew larger as his body grew larger, and more of them floated in all directions. After a short minute, as the lotus flowers spread throughout the entire space, all the noise and clamor came to an abrupt end. After a few minutes, there was only Chun Hao's still very soft recitation between heaven and earth. Voila! After everyone closed their eyes and immersed themselves in the artistic conception created by Chun Hao's Sanskrit Great Tao, the huge, tens of thousands of feet tall forehead of Chun Hao began to spray out endless spirit spring water, turning into a rain of light that poured down. The profound and supreme Sanskrit Great Tao contained the great power, great wisdom, great emptiness, great peace, and great tranquility between heaven and earth. Coupled with the bath of the supreme great spirit spring water, it caused the souls of all the cultivators present to fall into a peaceful and tranquil state. Their thoughts, state of mind, and spiritual altars became clearer and quieter. Hiss, 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 hiss. After the supreme great spirit spring water covered the entire martial arts practice field, slender, dark green tentacles spread out from between Chun Hao's eyebrows. In an instant, endless vitality, endless mystery, and a faint pressure of Tao marks spread out among the crowd. And Chun Hao's voice, that was like a mosquito's recitation, finally began to grow louder, until it resounded throughout heaven and earth, like the evening drum and morning bell, striking the depths of everyone's soul. Everyone fell into an intoxicated state of enlightenment. It was not an epiphany, but it was infinitely close to one. Good lad, Yilan, who was sitting cross-legged in the void and controlling the space-time laws, was shocked by Chun Hao's freakish dojo. The Snow Plum Immortal was also surprised, but it soon turned into pride and joy. Her son was only a golden immortal of the great, all-embracing heaven, but the influence of the Taoist field he created was greater than that of her father, Chun Wuliang, and even the strongest controller, Yilan. She had not expected such an effect, but it really appeared in front of her. The several Tao, severing perfected immortals who followed him were naturally no exception. Moreover, he quickly put away his surprised emotions and naturally integrated into Chun Hao's Tao state. Si Xian, the legendary immortal, stared at Chun Hao, who had transformed into a 10,000-meter-tall giant and controlled the entire world like a god. Her eyes couldn't help but become a little dazed and full of extraordinary splendor. At this time, what Yilan, Snow Plum, Si Xian, and the other powerhouses didn't expect was that Chun Hao's eyebrows suddenly changed again. Endless golden holy light gushed out. Instantly, it was as if millions, tens of thousands of people were chanting and praying, which merged with Chun Hao's great way Sanskrit chant. Buzz! 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 Immediately, Chun Shui, Helian Wuzi, Long Ting, Hu Mainyang, Tantai Lian, Xia Yuyu, Lung Ninghuan, Lung Ningle, Chen Yin, Fan Shaoqing, Chen Ling, Liang, Fan Donglu, Fan Dongsheng, Long Yi, Huyan Albua, Jing Tiangang, the First King, Buttface Xiaoling Yang Fan, and all the other direct brothers and sisters of Chun Hao showed strong reactions. Instantly, they were enveloped by the golden holy light, and their auras changed dramatically in an instant. Immediately, the core members of the Proud Heavens, the main members, and the ordinary members were also enveloped by the golden holy light. At the same time, Yilan and Shui Mei were also bathed in the pure golden holy light. The power of faith. Yilan's mind was shocked for a moment, but then he was immersed in it immediately. Everyone present, who had prayed devoutly for Chun Hao during the 10,000 years since his first collapse and return, and who had gathered the power of faith for Chun Hao, felt the feedback from faith for the first time. It was a power that was different from any other energy. At this moment, it was as if a statue of the god of slaughter, Chun Hao, had risen from the depths of everyone's souls, emitting endless holy light, cleansing their souls and giving them strength, wisdom, and spirit. It was like being possessed by God or devil, but they were self-conscious and not possessed by the devil. Their thinking and comprehension had been improved tremendously in an instant. Chi, 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 chi. The sudden surge of aura from the area of the Proud Heavens members startled Hongmeng, who had entered a state of emptiness. He looked at the members of the Proud Heavens who were enveloped by the golden holy light in surprise, and was soon infected by it. His lips naturally opened and closed along with the movements of the god of slaughter, Chun Hao, and the members of the Proud Heavens, and began to chant, blending with heaven and earth. Buzz, 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 buzz. The chant resounded throughout the martial arts arena. At this moment, it was no longer Chun Hao alone, but the resonance of tens of millions of people. In an instant, it was as if it had connected the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The entire Wuji star, and even the surrounding endless starry sky, began to show signs of abnormalities. The 9-colored brilliance flashed, and the range grew larger and larger. Endless heaven and earth spirit chi rolled in. Even the cultivators who were not qualified to come to the martial arts arena were infected by the vast chanting that seemed to connect the 9 heavens and 10 earths. No matter what they were doing, they temporarily stopped, sat down cross-legged, and directly entered a state of enlightenment. Heaven and earth were moved by the god of slaughter, Chun Hao. The influence of the martial arts arena was unprecedented. Even Yilan had never heard of it before and was completely immersed in its realm of Tao. In the world of Chun Hao's mind, in the immortal world, which was separately divided for the Milky Way sector, the sound of Tao was rolling, and strange phenomena appeared in the sky. The shadow of Chun Hao, who was sitting cross-legged, occupied the entire void. The millions upon millions of living beings in the Milky Way sector prostrated themselves on the ground and began to pray devoutly. Nurse Lu Hui, who had long since become a divine daughter, smiled as she sat cross-legged next to Chun Hao's shadow. Her 10 million incarnations could be seen. Wherever Chun Hao's shadow could be seen, she could be seen accompanying him, leading millions upon millions of living beings to chant together. This shadow was not Chun Hao's true self, but rather Chun Hao's second anima. These 10 million projections were none other than the second anima, which had been in slumber all this time. They were the manifestation of the faith power of Proud Heavens members over the past 10,000 years, as well as the faith power of the trillions of living beings in the Milky Way planetary system. As for the true self of the second anima, it was now sitting cross-legged. Under the control of Chun Hao's true self, it transformed into motes of golden light, which then began to dissipate. Each mote of golden light merged into the world of Meng Hao's mind, becoming a part of Chun Hao's fleshly body. Fusion. Without a doubt, the moment Chun Hao connected his true self with the second anima was the best time for him to choose to fuse with it. The reason he had chosen to fuse with it now was, firstly, because the second anima had endured enough tempering, and the power of faith it had gathered had reached a peak. Secondly, by fusing with the power of faith of millions upon millions of human experts, the fusion would be even more thorough. That was because the power of faith was different from ordinary energy. Those who believe in me will receive my power. However, if you receive my power, it won't reduce the amount of power of faith I control. On the contrary, if you receive my power, you will become even more devout, and the power of faith I control will increase. This was a type of power that was controlled by a single person. The more devout one's faith was, the more power one would be able to wield. Hurry up. The boundless planet. What are you doing? Cut the crap. Hurry up. You'll know when you get there. Go to the boundless planet. Hurry. Notify all the disciples of the sect. No matter what they're doing, they're to go to the boundless planet immediately. Notify all the members of the clan. No matter their cultivation base, no matter where they are, they're to get to the boundless planet as quickly as possible. Beep, beep, beep. Death God, Chun Hao is preaching the Tao. The boundless planet is filled with a variety of phenomena. All cultivators may go and take a look. Whether it was in the vast universe galaxy or the second world, all the great sects, families, peak powers, and even the Alliance and Temple were the first to send out this message, informing all cultivators to hurry to the boundless planet. Ever since Chun Hao began to preach the Tao, in just half a year, every corner of the boundless planet was filled with cultivators. Every cultivator that arrived was shocked for a brief moment before they sat down cross-legged and began to chant automatically. This was no longer up to the cultivators themselves. No matter their cultivation base, no matter who they were, it was difficult to resist the powerful influence brought about by more and more cultivators chanting at the same time. Let alone Yilan, who was the strongest controller. Not even the death god Chun Hao could have imagined such a situation. Moreover, no matter how it grew, as the only existence of faith, Chun Hao could clearly control the power of faith transmitted to him by each chanting cultivator. There were only two exceptions. One was the young nurse, Lu Hui, who pretended to guide everyone. Although she was pious, happy, excited, and happy to see such a scene, her spiritual altar did not have the slightest trace of Chun Hao's imprint. As the rebirth of an immortal emperor, she, who was the wisest of all things, could not have the existence of a person of faith, whether it was her soul or her state of mind. This was the pride of an immortal emperor, and it was not something that the young nurse could control. The other was the strongest cultivator, Yilan. Although Yilan had spent a lot of time praying for Chun Hao to gather the power of faith and destiny over the past 10,000 years, and he was immediately reciprocated by Chun Hao's power of faith. Now, he was also immersed in prayer and comprehension, but his spiritual altar was still clear and did not have the slightest trace of Chun Hao's imprint. He was immersed in this because he was willing to cooperate with a situation that was beneficial to Chun Hao and himself. Second update. That's it for today. I just came back and I'm really tired. Our monthly votes are the same. Chapter 1132. However, Yilan was different from the little nurse, Lu Hui, who was the reincarnation of an immortal emperor. His cultivation realm far exceeded Chun Hao's, which was why his beer was untainted. Chi, 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 from tens of millions to tens of millions, to hundreds of millions, to tens of billions, to hundreds of billions. As time passed, more and more cultivators gathered on Wuji Star. The sound of chanting grew louder and louder, and the aura emitted grew stronger and stronger. The area it covered grew larger and larger, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered grew more and more majestic. From Wuji Star to the surrounding planets, it continued to spread throughout the space of vast universe galaxy. In the void, strange phenomena appeared. The heavenly Tao laws became thicker and more profound. The sun and moon lost their color, and only the rays of the sun could be seen. At this time, Chun Hao's consciousness also joined in with the chanting of the believers. It seemed to be spreading endlessly, and the speed of his fusion with the second anima became faster and faster. The boundless pain that Chun Hao had to endure before his fusion with the second anima was destined to cause trouble and pain to Chun Hao's original body. But now, in the vast and boundless river of devout faith, it didn't even cause a ripple. It was drowned in Chun Hao's mind, no one knew. Even Chun Hao himself didn't realize that his method of preaching was a fusion of the essence of Taoism and Buddhism. Everyone present, who devoutly regarded Chun Hao as their god, was destined to never surpass the god in their hearts in this lifetime. No matter how high their talent was, they could only get infinitely close. The peak of the great Tao had no faith. Just like how Chun Hao could respect someone, but he would never worship anyone as a god. He only believed in himself. Chunhao's method of preaching, which fused Taoism and Buddhism, was like a tyrannical domination to everyone. However, for everyone, especially considering Chunhao's heaven-defying talent, it was obviously not a bad thing. After all, among those present, and even in the entire boundless universe of ancient chaos, who could surpass Chunhao in the future? As long as they couldn't, it meant that there were only benefits and no disadvantages. Under the space-time laws, the stars moved, and 800 years passed in a flash. God of Slaughter, Chunhao's teachings that had shaken the entire vast universe galaxy and benefited countless cultivators, were finally coming to an end. However, when everyone woke up one after another and wanted to pay their respects to the God of Slaughter, Chunhao, they realized that Chunhao had disappeared from the high platform of the training hall. The controller Yilan, the snow-plum true immortal, the ageless legend Si Xian, and many of the Tao-severing true immortals and proud heavens women and core generals had also disappeared. At the highest level of temple. Are you sure you're all going in? This is not a joke. The ancient chaos void is the most dangerous place in the ancient chaos great thousand world. It is different from the extraterritorial battlefield. In the ancient chaos void, you can encounter heaven and earth anomalies at any time. Moreover, countless experts who died in the ancient chaos void left their wills in the ancient chaos void when they were on the verge of death. After countless years, not only did their wills not dissipate, they even gave birth to God consciousness. Yilan said as he stared at Chunhao and the others. God consciousness? Chunhao and Hu Meinyang were shocked at the same time. What's God consciousness? Du Jing and Lan Feng asked at the same time. God consciousness is derived from the emotions or obsessions left behind by the ancient chaos void when they died, Yilan explained. It's extremely powerful when it comes to the mind. Possessing cultivators and destroying their minds and souls are their strongest attacks. This is the most terrifying and dangerous existence in the ancient chaos realm. This is also why Tao-severing true immortals aren't willing to enter it. It's also why it's become a prison for those who have committed the most heinous crimes in the 10 galaxies. Only very few super geniuses, such as the immeasurable controller, would choose to enter the ancient chaos void to train for a period of time. However, they can't enter for more than 1,000 years, and that's only when they are in the Grand Mist Supremacy realm. No way. So terrifying. Were the ancient chaos void all the top Tao-severing true immortals? That's right. Moreover, there are many God consciousnesses at the true immortal king realm that even I have to avoid. If you encounter such God consciousnesses, you won't have the power to resist at all. So, I think it's better for you to go with a group of people from the extraterritorial battlefield. Long, Yi, Pan Donglu, Pan Dongsheng, Huyan Albua, don't go. You're going to train, not to play. If you're not strong enough, you won't be able to move an inch. Besides, now, in addition to the tyrants, there are also experts from the other 8 galaxies. Although they compensated you 500 years ago, it doesn't mean that they surrendered. If they encounter you, they definitely won't let go of this opportunity. Yilan said. Senior Yilan, no matter what, we have to go with Big Brother. Pan Donglu said directly. Me too, Longy said. Other than Pan Long and the others who had experienced the 10 Directions domain and the extraterritorial battlefield, among Chunhao's siblings, Pan Donglu, Pan Dongsheng, and Long, Yi were undoubtedly the strongest. They had missed it once before. How could they miss it again this time? In that case, let's forget about it. Big Brother, First King, and I will go to the 10 Directions domain. After all, the Proud Heavens Association has to have people. Our talents are a little lacking. It's also good to stay in the vast universe galaxy to manage the Proud Heavens Association, as long as you come back to see us occasionally. Huyan Albua hesitated slightly and said directly after glancing at First King, Jing Tiangang, Butt Face, Lil Ling Yang Fan, Li Yifeng, and the others. Chunhao frowned slightly. Well, Albua is right. The Proud Heavens Association has spread throughout the vast universe galaxy. You core members do have to stay behind to manage it. Then it's settled. When Chunhao still wanted to say something, Yilan said directly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Chun Hao. However, there is a limit to human strength. Everyone's talent and potential are limited after all. I know what you're thinking. If you do that, the final result will be that each of them will only be your shadow, and a shadow that will be useless. Instead of that, it's better to let them live their lives in the vast universe galaxy. That way, for them, it's meaningful. And now, your belief in the great Tao has taken shape. The stronger you are, the stronger they can borrow your strength. Staying here and becoming your root is undoubtedly the best choice. Okay. Chen Hao frowned and slowly glanced at the crowd. Finally, he nodded and said. Immediately, he looked at Yilan and said, Senior Yilan, can you give each of them a life planet? Ah, big brother, no. Huyan Albal was surprised, but he was stopped by Chun Hao. You mean they will all be planet controllers? The original cultivators of these life planets will all be transferred out. I only want planets. You want to settle down the people of the Skyriver sector? Yilan asked. Yes. In my mental world, there is no true heavenly Tao. It's not a long-term solution. Chen Hao said. Now that he had fused with the second anima, he naturally possessed the emotions of the second anima. Even though Chen Hao could no longer act as a bystander, he still had to make arrangements for the parents, children, and women of the second anima. After all, no matter how strong his mental world was, it didn't have the heavenly Tao of the vast thousand realms. It was fine in the short term, but not in the long term. Only Lu Hui, the spirit of all things, was unaffected. How many people are there in the Skyriver sector? Yilan nodded and asked. Not many. A total of more than 1,300 trillion, Chen Hao said. The vast thousand realms had become a space of nirvana, and the people of the Skyriver sector were new humans born in that space. Compared to the prosperous vast thousand realms of ancient chaos, 1,300 trillion was indeed nothing. It's not a lot, but it's not a little either. How about this? Ao Bo and the others each control a planet. It's a bit crowded. After all, they're the direct descendants of our vast universe sector. Old Man will give them a main planet, and the 1,008 planets under the main planet will all be under their names. The controllers of all the planets will be temporarily elected by Ao Bo and the other members of the Proud Heavens Association. However, the premise is that they don't interfere with their freedom. Let them develop on their own. The cultivators of our vast universe sector won't interact with them for the time being. When they grow up and are strong enough, we will interact with them. What do you think? Cough, cough, so generous. Chun Hao was a little surprised when he heard Yilan's words. Haha, when has Old Man ever been stingy with you? However, such a big move naturally requires a return. When Lu Hui grows up and the Skyriver sector returns to being a vast thousand realms, we will establish a free exchange contract with our vast universe sector. Fair exchange, this shouldn't be a problem, right? Oh, there's one more thing. After Lu Hui advances to Hongmeng, I hope she can bring the true immortals of our vast universe sector to the space of nirvana, including me. No problem. Chen Hao made a decision. Well, you can leave her to me first. I will handle it as soon as possible. Okay. Buzz. Chun Hao's consciousness directly announced his decision to Lu Hui and the billions of creatures in the Skyriver star field in the macro world of his mind. Then he opened the macro world of his mind and directly connected with Yilan. After a while, the two stopped. The billions of beings of the Skyriver sector and all their belongings were moved into Yilan's mind world. Chun Hao, Chun Shui, Helian Wuzi, Tantai Lian, Xia Yu, Lung Ninghuan, Lung Ningle, Long Ting, Bailey Ningbing, Hu Meinyang, Chun Yin, Xiao Mei, Chun Xiaoqing, Chun Ling and Liang, Pan Dong Lu and Fan Dongsheng, Du Jing and Lin Xia, Long Yi and his Dao partner Tianxin, Lan Feng and the supreme beauty of Hongmeng, Shui Lan, Pan Long, Chun Nan, and Itoda, the three bachelors. Si Xian herself, and the 9 true immortals. 10 people. Lu Hui was the only one left in Chen Hao's mind, as well as her cousin, Lu Qian, who was forced to stay by Lu Hui and wanted Chen Hao to accept her as a buy one get one free, and Xi Xian's third life, Xiao Feng, who was still immersed in the sea of corpses. There were a total of 39 people. Yilan directly opened the space-time gate that could only be opened by the controller's token and sent them into the ancient chaos void. They were to be recalled after 1,000 years. This is a pain in the ass, but it will be over soon. Please vote. Chapter 1133. In Yilan's opinion, 1,000 years was definitely the limit for Ao Tian and the others. After all, apart from Atoda, who had ascended to the supreme of Hongming, Chun Hao and the others were only Daluo Jingxian. Even with the 9 true immortals and the legendary Xi Xian, 1,000 years was not easy. After watching Chun Hao and the others disappear into the space-time gate, Snow Plum True Immortal bade farewell to Yilan and went directly to the 10 Directions territory. She entered the Star River Tunnel and stepped on the Star Road to the great world of CND. Yilan gathered the higher-ups of the vast universe galaxy and began to settle the billions of lives in the Sky River sector. Chi. Rumble. Rumble. What's that? Streams of light cut through the void, and Chun Hao and the others appeared in the void of the ancient chaos realm. The moment they appeared, they were shocked by the strange phenomenon that filled the entire world. A terrifying explosion rang out, causing the mountains to crumble and the earth to crack. A boundless, ancient aura surged forward, and the entire space became filled with an extremely terrifying will to fight. The will to fight alone was enough to shock Ao Tian's group, Xi Xian and the 9 true immortals. Boom, boom, boom. After a brief moment of shock, they all gathered themselves to their peak state to resist the terrifying pressure. Strange phenomenon. At this moment, Chun Hao's pitch-black eyes shone with a crystalline light, as if he could see through the endless space and time. He said 2 words in surprise. That's right, it's a strange phenomenon. It's the remnant of the Tao from the ancient battle. One of the true immortals' eyes suddenly shook, and he regained his clarity. How terrifying! Billions of years have passed, and yet the remnant aura of the battle is able to invade our soul essence and create illusions. What would happen if this is the divine will of a primordial great power? Another Tao, severing true immortal, exclaimed in shock. Brother Chun, are you all right? The 9 true immortals recovered one after another and saw through the illusion that had existed for countless years. They all looked at Chun Hao in surprise. I'm fine. As expected of the most dangerous place in the ancient chaos realm. It's really a good place, Chun Hao said with a slightly excited expression as he held the 9 syllables mantra Akala seal. After the battle in the foreign battlefield, Chun Hao could slow down his pace and wait for Proud Heaven and the others to break through. After that, there was no longer any challenge to speak of. The only challenge and passion he had was the endless dual cultivation with the mature Xiao Mei. It was very comfortable, very leisurely, very charming. And now, the moment he entered the ancient chaos great desolation domain, he encountered such a powerful illusion Tao mark pressure, which made Chun Hao look forward to the ancient chaos great desolation domain even more. Break! At this time, Xi Xian and Ito Ta's eyes lit up almost at the same time. They jumped out of the terrifying pressure of the illusion. The scene in front of them was restored to boundless desolation and darkness. Except for that, where was the terrifying battle? Ito Ta, who had been in the depths of the chaotic space for more than 10,000 years, had experienced too many life and death situations. At this moment, he was already the supreme of Hongming. At least in terms of willpower, he definitely surpassed Coiling Dragon and the others. It was not strange for him to be able to wake up in a short while. And Xi Xian was very powerful. She had cultivated for tens of millions of years. Her soul, state of mind, and willpower had already reached the stage where no technique could touch her. Logically speaking, she should not be inferior to the 9 great true immortals present. But this time, she was one step behind the 9 great true immortals, the 9 great true immortals naturally knew what was going on. The great Tao was emotionless. When emotionlessness turned into emotion, it was impossible to be untouched by any technique. It was just that the 9 great true immortals would not say it out loud. As for Cixin herself, she naturally did not think that she had a flaw. Boom. Chi 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 chi. And at this time, Chen Shui and the others who were still trapped in the illusion suddenly began to attack wildly. Separate. Chi 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 chi. Chen Hao directly made a move. He pointed his finger several times. Every time he pointed, one of Chen Shui and the others would be sent far away, leaving enough space for them. In an instant, the 25 people were separated. Master, I'm still very powerful now. Ito Ta, who quickly understood what was going on, said proudly, if you get more Hongmeng's supreme beauties with big butts, maybe you will be even more powerful. Cough, cough. Master, I am wronged. From the beginning to the end, I am reluctantly helping others. I am the same as Master. We are not casual people. We have not done any dual cultivation. At most, it is compensation. They are the same. Cixin frowned slightly, looked at the two of them, and thought to herself, how many did you bring? Chen Hao smiled and stared at Ito Ta. What? Ito Ta's expression changed, and he took a step back. Seeing that Chen Hao did not speak, Ito Ta suddenly broke out in cold sweat and whispered, 3, 3, 3, 10, 30, 39, 39. Master, I don't want to hide it from you, but they will never appear, so I didn't say, bring them and go, take them, don't go too far, cultivate by yourself. Cough, cough. Yes, Master. Ito Ta said gratefully, as if he had been granted amnesty. He thought that his master would blame him, but he didn't expect that his master would just ask. 39, and it seemed that his master didn't have much of a reaction. If he knew this, he wouldn't have given up so many in the beginning. Remember, don't mess around in the future. If you want to find a real Taoist companion. Yes, Master Cixin, seniors, you can also cultivate by yourself. They will be fine with me. Here, I will build a base. If there is anything, you can send a message to me through the personal battleship. This is for you. Chi 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 chi. 10 micro-brain chips and 10 battleships suddenly appeared in front of Cixin and the 9 true immortals. The battleships may not be as fast as you, but they have better concealment capabilities. With this, as the core, the range of communication will increase. It's very simple to use. Just make a small wound on your body and put the chip in contact with the wound, and it will recognize you as its master. You will naturally understand the rest. Good. The 9 Tao, severing true immortals, said excitedly. They directly received Chen Hao's gift. The main reason why Ao Tian's 11 legions could be so powerful in the extraterritorial battlefield was because of Chen Hao's high-tech battleships. Even they were looking forward to it. After receiving the chip from Chen Hao, the 9 of them immediately cut a piece of it on their hands. Soon after, they revealed expressions of surprise and joy. Brother Chen, farewell. If you have any problems, let us know at any time. We will be on call. Chi 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 chi. After saying this, the 9 true immortals excitedly entered their respective battleships and disappeared in front of Chen Hao and Cixin. Master Cixin, you don't want it? Chapter 1134. Cixin stared at Chen Hao and said, yes, why not? As she spoke, she waved her hand and took the smart brain chip and the battleship into her mental world. Then, she said, let me test your true battle strength. Is that necessary? Teacher Cixin, it's very necessary. Whether it's here or in the great world of CND in the future, if you don't know the true strength of your teammates, how can you make the right judgment? Cixin said, then frowned slightly. What's with that look? Even your father. Stop. I know you're old, very old. Is that enough? Although I don't want to say it, I really don't think you can test my true battle strength. How about this? Chen Hao didn't care that Cixin was glaring at him. As he spoke, his body suddenly shook and turned into 2 Chen Hao. This is my 3rd anima, the one that was born in the great thousand primal chaos world. Splash. The moment Chun Hao finished speaking, the rolling spirit spring condensed into a miniature azure ocean in the void. He said, "This is the sixth life I just condensed the spirit spring sea. Chi. This is the second life I comprehended when I preached. Chi. This is the fourth life, the Tao manifestation immortal fruit tree. Buzz. This is the fifth life, the tree of life. Including my original body, there are a total of 6 lives. Choose an opponent. Don't look at me like that. I'm not looking down on you. It can't be helped. It's just that I think I'm a little strong." Chen Hao said, "Your teacher sees Xian? So beautiful. You can choose me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. If I lose, you can do whatever you want with me. If you lose, be my—" "Shut up. I'm here. What right do you have to speak?" Cough, cough. "Yes, yes. The third life, which was born in the vast thousand chaos world's mad demon realm, immediately shut up after Chun Hao's original body scolded him." Si Xian's eyes widened in shock. She said, "The split just because you said so? The spirit spring sea was refined to the 6th anima by you?" Si Xian was truly shocked. She had already completely fused with the 2nd anima. However, if she wanted to separate them, she would have to expend quite a bit of effort. Furthermore, there was no way she could do it so thoroughly. If Chun Hao was in the 3rd anima, it was obvious that he and Chun Hao had already become 2 different people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stared at her with such interest and even looked a little shameless. "Is there a problem? Don't you know that the 9 lives profound technique can only be improved by using the life of a human?" "I don't think so," he said. "My true self, 2nd anima, and 3rd anima are all humans. I feel like that's a bit too much. Look at this kid. Why don't you pick him? If you can help me kill him, I can consider forming a new non-human as my 3rd life. This sovereign, don't go too far. I'm more or less you, right?" When 3rd anima heard Chun Hao's words, he looked at Chun Hao with an ugly expression. "You're so cruel to my woman. So what? Mother Vaster's cur, get lost and go train." Chi. Chun Hao's face reddened. He had laughed at Si Xian's quarrel with the 3rd anima. Now that he had separated for the first time, such a situation had occurred. Chun Hao hadn't expected this. His forehead flashed, and the 3rd anima transformed into countless motes of light that shot off like lightning. "Don't be so overbearing, sovereign. I've endured so much, suppressed it for so long. Little Hui likes you more. Why? Little Qian and the others, including your own flesh and blood. How can you be so cold-blooded? Fuck, if you've got the guts, then talk terms with me. You get lost and go train too. Get lost." Chi. Chun Hao had thought that the 2nd anima would be more obedient. He hadn't expected that just as he chased away the 3rd anima, the 2nd anima would flip out. Chun Hao's expression was unsightly as he sent it flying with a kick. PFFF. Lu Hui, the nurse, burst out laughing within Chun Hao's mental world. "Serves you right," Si Xian taunted, looking at Chun Hao's awkward expression with amusement. However, her heart was filled with astonishment. To be able to separate so thoroughly and become separate consciousnesses meant that after the 2nd anima and the 3rd anima trained separately, the results of the 2nd fusion would be as shocking as the 1st fusion. This was something that Si Xian couldn't do. To put it bluntly, if she were to separate the true body and the 2nd anima and train separately, there would be almost no effect. This was because she had truly fused. Unlike the 3rd anima, which still had to fuse, she had only comprehended the comprehension of the cultivation realm once. Chun Hao's body and soul had clearly fused completely, yet he could separate them into separate consciousnesses. This was simply inconceivable. "There's no need to fight with me, right? If you want to take a bath or something, I welcome you. Teacher Si Xian. I'll use my purest energy, my most gentle waves, to gently caress your proud body." Fuck. The words of the 6th anima's spiritual spring nearly caused Chun Hao to fall to the ground. Si Xian, who was being openly teased, immediately blushed. "Sovereign, I'll get lost myself. Thank you." Asterisk crash. the miniature version of the spiritual spring sea splashed down like the Milky Way from the ninth heaven. Soon after, it spread out like a small stream in the chaotic antiquity domain and rolled away. Ha ha! Teacher Xian, you can choose me. Get lost. Are you serious? Sovereign, I haven't finished speaking. Chi. The Tao manifestation immortal fruit tree was sent flying by Chun Hao's kick. I like beautiful women, but I like handsome men like this sovereign even more. Fuck. Get lost. The tree of life immediately let out a sound that was almost the same as that perverted transvestite Zhou Qinglong's. Chun Hao was so frightened that he immediately sent another kick flying. Ouch! Little sovereign, you're hurting me. Ha ha! Xian finally burst into laughter. Chun Hao's face turned green. Even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that the 5 lies he had condensed would not give him any face. Each one was more speechless than the last, and each one was more troublesome than the last, especially the 6th life of the Tree of Life. It was practically a F*** reincarnation of Zhou Qinglong. If he allowed himself to be tainted by Zhou Qinglong's style, he might as well kill himself. What are you laughing at? Chun Hao said unhappily to Xian, who was bent over laughing. I'm happy, haha. To think that you've lived for tens of millions. Chun Hao stopped mid-sentence, and his eyes lit up. Laugh. Continue laughing. Laugh with all your strength. Xian, who was looking at Chun Hao, was taken aback. She followed Chun Hao's gaze and lowered her head slightly. She, who was still laughing, immediately shut her mouth. Her pretty face flushed red as she scolded. Rogue. Even your father. F***CK. I respect you as teacher Xian, but don't always take advantage of your seniority. Can't you act like an elder? I don't. Xian raised an eyebrow. You do? Chun Hao asked with a frown. You treat me as an elder? I don't. Chun Hao asked again. The two of them stared at each other for a full 10 seconds, and Xian felt guilty under their stares. Humph. You know very well whether you do or not. Enough nonsense. Make your move. Xian's pretty face turned red from anger and shame. Just as Chun Hao had said, she was someone who had lived for tens of millions of years. But for some reason, she couldn't remain calm in front of Chun Hao. She really didn't have the demeanor of an elder. Maybe it was because of Chun Hao's abnormal strength, his current status in the vast universe galaxy, or maybe it was because he was in the 3rd anima. In short, she subconsciously treated Chun Hao as someone of the same generation. Just thinking about it made her blush. However, the feeling was mutual. Xian definitely didn't think that this was all her fault. Chun Hao seemed to treat her as an elder, but from the moment they met until now, Xian really didn't feel it at all. His sincerity in treating her as an elder was nothing more than lip service. But now, if they really confronted each other, Chun Hao would at least be able to justify himself on the surface. But what about her? She would have to suffer in silence. Do you really want to fight? Chun Hao looked around at the people who had fallen into the illusion, then stared at Xian. Chi. What? Answered Chun Hao was a finger that contained a terrifying pressure and endless mysteries. The finger was slender, and crystalline, just like Xian's finger. The size was also the same. It seemed slow, but it broke the laws of space and time. In an instant, it enlarged in Chun Hao's eyes. Boom! Endless immortal light, majestic and mysterious Tao laws, as well as an immortal sword intent that surpassed Chun Hao's level of comprehension, suddenly burst out from the finger, turning into thousands of dazzling sword lights in an instant. Amazing! Chun Hao, who was originally joking, was shocked at this moment. Chi! Without any hesitation, Chun Hao activated the great teleportation technique. Boom, boom, boom. Chun Hao's figure appeared in a sorry state amidst the continuous sounds of explosions. The great teleportation technique had failed. How is this possible? Humph. I knew you were going to escape. I may not be a match for you if I fused with 6 lives, but you'd better fight me with your full sincerity. I won't hold back. Xian's proud voice resounded through heaven and earth. Her Taoist robe fluttered, and her figure was lithe and graceful. Her long hair fluttered in the wind. Her pretty face was slightly flushed. Her breasts were high. Her waist was slender, and her buttocks were perky. The maturity, elegance, and confidence of the immortal legend seemed to have completely blossomed with the effect of her finger. Not to mention Chan Hao, who was a little embarrassed by her powerful attack. Even the little nurse Lu Hui, who was watching the situation in Chun Hao's mind world, was slightly stunned. What a beautiful supporting actress. She has the charm of a beautiful young married woman, but the purity of a young girl. Can Brother Hero withstand this seduction? Phew! When the sword lights dissipated, Chun Hao let out a long breath. His eyes shone brightly as he looked at the proud Xian and said, "You're indeed the immortal legend of the vast universe galaxy. It seems that I've underestimated you. Of course, it's your father, F*CK, Xian. I'm warning you. If you mention my father again, do you believe that I won't beat you? Do you have that ability? I doubt it. Besides, I'm telling the truth. Even when your father had just stepped into Hongmeng, he wasn't a match for me. Not to mention that you're just a little brat, Daluo Jinxian, and only your true body. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.